time to panic, because nobody cared about the first two. When the cops finally did put Mr. Johnson and Miss Kelly back together again, nobody cared. It's just a nut, they said. It's just some loser who doesn't get out enough. But then there were 3 more dead bodies, and the press said, oh shit, we better come up with a name. And IK, otherwise known as the Image Killer, became national news. Post a clue on Monday, Gangsta on Tuesday, reshares it Wednesday. And holy shit, did that take off. For the first time in history, folks, a serial killer has their very own social media following. I just want you to think about that for a minute. There are literally a couple million people out there following a psycho. And I'm one of them, and I feel bad about it, but I gotta know, and so do you, and that's why we're doing it. And if you are following her, and I did say her, you've seen her most recent work in the late Farah Isaacs, also known as Victim Number 6. Which, in serial killer terms, means that our little social media psycho has just turned semi-pro. Mom and Dad must be proud. So, is it a good time to panic? I'm your host, Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. Sometime on March 5th, the late Miss Isaacs was busy finishing up another scathing review of a Toronto restaurant. I'm not going to say who, they've had a hard enough time already. But sometime between Miss Isaacs logging onto her computer and castrating the new chef online, the IK clue went live. As always, it was flagged immediately by authorities and taken down, but not before it was shared and tagged and reposted and seen by millions of people, yours truly included. Now, if you haven't seen the clue and you want to, you can find it on the site whoiSIK.com. You just gotta scroll down, you find it right in the middle. Okay, just a little sidebar here. I mean, at some point, the authorities gotta realize that trying to contain content like this it's nearly impossible. It's like taking a piss in the swimming pool. Once it's in there, there's really not much you can do about it. Sorry for the segue there. Okay, so now, true to fashion, the IK clue was deliberately misleading. And say what you will, the girl's got a talent for this kind of thing because no one could figure it out. Until, on Tuesday, March 6th, Farah Isaacs goes missing. Now, officially, she wasn't reported missing till Wednesday, but considering the state she was found in and seeing how a roast beef is about, give or take 20 minutes a pound, I think it's safe to put 2 and 2 together and call it a demi-glace. So, Wednesday morning rolls around, and IK posts her handiwork. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. If you really want to know what happened to her, and if you somehow magically don't know, you can find the pictures online. And for those that don't want to know, feel free to go put your head in the sand. Have you done that? Fantastic. Now, let's get into the question that I'm sure is baking a few noodles out there, because for the bulk of this podcast, I've been saying she. You heard me right. That's right. She is a serial killer. She is still out there. She is a lady. Now, how do I know this? Well, I don't. This is just my opinion, and I've been doing this a long time, so we're just going to assume that my opinion means more than your opinion. Okay, have we covered that? Excellent. Exhibit A. So to date, there has not been a single victim over 160 pounds. The gentlemen have been represented, but none of them were that big, and they sure as shit weren't prize fighters. They were all manageable. I'll say that again, manageable. Overpowering them, getting the upper hand, manageable. Moving a dead body of 160 pounds, for example, manageable. Which leads me to believe that our killer is not some 6-foot-tall, roided-out gym rat. Could be, for sure. It's just my opinion, but we already established it's more important than yours. So I don't think it is. Exhibit B. The victims are varied. There's no attention to creed, color, race, gender, or politics. IK is not of discerning taste. You look at every male serial killer throughout history, they are creatures of habit, often driven by their sexual desire, whereas the only connection I found between her victims is that they each had over 5,000 followers on social media. Which is why I think we're dealing with something new. A new breed of femme fatale. Because maybe she wants to be Queen Bee. That's all I've got for you. And if you do have any comments, save them. If I wanted your opinion, I'd be listening to your podcast and not the other way around. Good night. What pisses you off? Think about that. What really gets you going? What's the thing that flips that switch in your brain and makes you just want to kick ass and take names? And the better question is, how do you deal with it? Today, we're taking a trip down memory lane way back to IK's first victim, the not-so-fresh golden oldie Kaylee Kelly, superhero name, no tangible benefits. Now, up until Miss Kelly met the star of our show, she went by the handle Kelly Lime, a YouTuber running a successful makeup channel on which she effortlessly pulled off gorgeous looks until She was hacked both physically and digitally, presumably by IK, and spread both across the web and her studio over live stream video. So when fans of Kelly Lime tuned in to watch her newest tutorial, they did not receive an in-depth instruction on the latest holiday look, but rather a homemade lesson in taxidermy, as they were treated to the image of Kelly Lime's face mounted on a mannequin. Now, to be fair, the remains of Kelly Lime's face were sporting her new smoky shadow look, so not a total loss for the fans. Just remember to pair it with a charcoal gray or a nice navy blue and you cannot go wrong. But this begs the question, did IK apply the smoky shadow after removing the face? Or had Kelly already done it herself? Either way, the image killer is racking up some serious points for technical difficulty. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. But first, a word from our sponsors. Just kidding, we don't actually have any. We were thinking about reaching out to Blue Apron, but after what happened to Farrah Isaacs, we thought it might be in poor taste. Yes, we did. Onwards. Now, there's a lot of debate over Kelly Lime. Was she actually the first IK victim? Was this the work of some other psycho? What was the clue? With all her other kills to date, Miss IK's clues have drawn a very clear line to the victim, but this first one appears to have gotten lost in the noise. There are literally thousands upon thousands of makeup-related pictures posted daily, and at the time, no one was looking for anything out of the ordinary. Double tap, swipe left, just another day, so it's more than possible IK's first clue just slipped through the cracks. Maybe it's still out there. Maybe it holds the key to finding this killer. We just don't know which one it is. What we do know is that on the Tuesday of that week, IK got into Kelly Lime's studio and peeled her face off. One piece, intact, eyelids and all, and no, there is not a Visine for that. Now, according to the coroner's report, don't ask me how I got it, I am not going to tell you, Kelly Lime was killed sometime before her face was carved off by way of having her throat cut, which makes me wonder, was this crime true to IK fashion and meticulously planned out? Or was she feeling a little more in the moment and figured, hey, in for a penny, in for a pound of flesh? Important thing to remember here is that Kelly Lime was just your average run-of-the-mill YouTuber. Decent following, not crazy huge, big enough to fit in line with the rest of the IK kills, but definitely on the lower side. And if we're being honest here, she wasn't a total asshole. This wasn't just some other belittling, trolling dick floating around on the net. Sure, some snarky comments here and there, but nothing that a few 100,000 of us don't do on a daily basis. So what did Kelly Lime do to piss IK off? What exactly does it take to end up on IK's list? Was a few mean-spirited comments enough? I mean, Kelly was number one. She was the one who got IK off the bench and into the game. All the kills afterwards, once you get over the first couple, you've established your brand, you got to keep that new content flowing, build the following, farm those likes. But what did she do or not do to piss off our little psycho? What would it take to get you there? They say that everyone in the right circumstances is capable of murder. We all have our Achilles heel / dick punch, the right combination of bullshit, cold coffee, and bad weather that will make each and every one of us crap out our marbles on the kitchen floor and go marching full Monty into the blood orgy. So what do you think would drive someone to knock a person off in such a horrific way? What would do it for you? Would it take a few years, months? Is it cumulative? Is there a point system involved? Or do you just come across one of those perfect shitstorms of a day? I'm more inclined to believe that IK's been planning this for some time. She's done the math, she's worked out her details, but still makes you wonder, doesn't it? When was the last time you were an asshole? Said something shitty, posted something dickish. How many lists do you think you're on right now? And what if the last shitty thing you said was actually to IK? Makes you wonder. As always, keep your comments to yourself. Maybe we'll take some calls next week and get your thoughts, but till then, head on down to the beach, write them in the sand, and watch as Mother Nature washes them away with a gentle wave of inevitability. Good night. Welcome back. I'm Ben Robinson, and this is the first in a series of Caller Mondays we're going to start doing. I'm going to start saying we because I feel like including all of you trained flying monkeys that have passed judgment on my humble little podcast. So let's open the lines. We'll be dealing with one caller a day and one only because that's about the limit of my bullshit quota. And I've still got lunch with the in-laws. All right, so let's share some thoughts. Who is IK? What does she want? What's her end game? Who do we have?
Oh, hi. I'm Allison Duran.
Okay, and is that your real name?
Yes. My friends call me Addie.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just going on a show about serial killers with an active serial killer and using a real name. It's it's one way to end up on the list. I wouldn't go for it myself. Are you an IK follower?
Just recently.
Okay, so you're an IK follower. This is your real name. Do you want to give out your address as well, just like double down?
Well.
Yeah, not such a great idea anymore, is it? Okay, all right. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Sorry, I'm nervous.
No, that's okay. Take a breath, shake it out.
Well, I'm 23 years old, and I'm a cosmetics rep.
Okay, so we know what you do. Where you're from?
I'm from Newmarket.
All right, so let's just keep slowing along. So are you on social media yourself?
Oh, yes.
Okay, how many followers do you have?
On my personal or my makeup account?
Let's go with both, because I think IK would just add them together.
Okay. Together I'd say about 8,000.
And did you know Kelly Lime at all? Victim number 1?
I did.
You did?
I did, yeah.
Okay, oh, sorry for your loss. And how well would you say you knew her?
I knew her. We were friends. Yeah, we were friends.
Friends, acquaintances, colleagues? Show up to the birthday party, wouldn't bring a gift?
Friends with, like, the same interests.
Okay, so birthday party, no gift. All right, so why do you think she was chosen? Because there's a lot of debate out there right now, but currently a lot of people are thinking that she was, the victim numero uno, like she was the first one to go.
I don't know. Kelly was, she had a lot of followers on social media, much more than I did.
She didn't, actually. We pulled up her numbers the other day, and she was a little over on her YouTube channel. She was a little over 5,500-6,000. So you're actually ahead of her on followers.
Really?
So take from that what you will. But anyway.
Okay. That's kind of nice.
Kelly Lime's good friend, everyone. Kelly Lime's good friend. Okay, so yeah. So what do you think?
Question.
What do you think got her on the list? What do you think? Why do you think she was chosen?
I don't know. She was a beautiful girl. I know that she she had a lot of friends. I mean, kind of, this is a little download. She talked to a lot of guys. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe she attracted the wrong guy one night and it got like a little too much.
So, just all right, just to clarify something here. Do you think that she was killed by IK, or do you think this was just online dating gone to shit?
I would like to think that it's online dating gone to shit, as you put it. But
unless he was flying on bath salts, you don't really cut someone's face off and you put it on something.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a little above.
It is a little much.
A little above a domestic, So let's just So for the sake of this interview, let's just say that IK did murder your friend Kelly Lime,
sure,
which you do not buy birthday presents for. Do you think that
I actually did get her a birthday present.
Oh, you did? What'd you get her?
The new set from Nude Sticks.
Okay, all right, that's not bad. Okay.
Yeah, she liked makeup, and she was doing a tutorial on them soon, so I wanted to get her something that would fit what she was going to work on the next month. That's
very kind of you. That's some very good thinking for product placement. All right, so just to go back to the IK question, do you think that IK has a bigger plan, regardless of whether she asked your friend or not? If this was victim number 1, even if Kelly wasn't killed by IK, there's still 5 other people out there who are definitely connected with this serial killer, as we know so far.
I mean, I think if the serial killer is not caught, I think they'll keep going.
Okay.
And they'll keep targeting people who are active on social media, maybe because they're jealous of them, or they want their life, or they just don't like them as human beings. So many people are against social media right now. Like, they would just want to destroy it, I guess, and that might be a reason to scare people off. I don't know.
All right, because it's funny that you say targeted, because so far to date, IK's MO, her reason for killing people, out of all 6 of her victims so far, is that the only thing that they've really had in common is that they've all had a big social media following, but they've also been kind of a dick in some respect. So now Kelly was the first, so she's a little bit in the dark. Everyone's not totally sure whether she actually was the first victim because nobody's found the clue yet. The clue could be out there online, but she just didn't have the following to it. But was there anything in her past where shitty comments? Did she call out a subscriber?
Well, I don't know. Her channel didn't have amazing ratings. It was getting a lot of track, but it wasn't fantastic, So I think a lot of it, from what I've read from the comments, because I've read all the comments on her account, people said that she lied a lot about products.
So she was a sellout.
No. I don't know, maybe.
Okay. All right. So do you think that would have had anything to do with why she was killed?
Well, maybe IK was one of those angry reviewers. I don't know.
So knowing that now, do you still think she was a good person?
Well,
Not sure.
yeah, no, yeah, of course I liked her. Kelly was she was an interesting human. I don't know if she really I don't know if she really liked me. She never really gave off that vibe. I mean, I got her a birthday present. She didn't give me a birthday present. It's like that kind of thing. There was like not really an exchange of...
Not a lot of reciprocation.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
So I got one more question for you, and keep in mind you have given out your full name on the serial killer chat show.
I have.
How do we know that you aren't IK?
Simple, because I was friends with Kelly.
Yeah, but like most murders happen by people who know the victim. Actually, probably like 95% of them.
Okay, well,
And here you are in a talk show doing the attention-seeking behavior.
Well, I don't think I would have done this talk show if I was the one who murdered Kelly.
Well, you'd be surprised. A lot of people kind of go in for that. Anyway, so you're saying that you're not. I'm just making up a list of everyone I interview for my own sake, because I've got about 6,000 followers right now myself, and little concerning to make sure that one of my guests doesn't come over here and strangle me with a mic cable. So, and just making sure.
I did not murder Kelly. I am not IK.
Okay. All right, good stuff. So is there anything you want to share with us before going?
I have recently relaunched my YouTube channel, and if Kelly's followers are listening, I have a tribute makeup tutorial that I just did last week. So if they want to check it out, it's Addie Tutorials on YouTube.
All right. Well, I actually meant more about your opinion on IK slaying your friend into lunch and meat, but thanks for talking. Good plug.
Asshole.
All right. Bye-bye. So that's all we got. We're going to be back later in the week on Thursday. And if you are one of Kelly Lime's followers out there, you want to check out some more sweet tutorials and shameless capitalism, feel free. Good night. Have you ever felt inadequate? No? What about when your fat ass is in the gym and you see just some sculpted Adonis grunting his veins out as he finishes up his 30th 300-pound set on the squat machine? How does that make you feel? Make you feel good about yourself? You feel admiration, some anger? Now what if I told you that same tap-out t-shirt clad musclehead was a fake? How would that make you feel? I am of course talking about John Johnson. No, not the shampoo company. I'm talking about our social media psychos, victim numero dos. Here's what we know. Standing tall. Well, he was standing. At 5'5", 160 pounds, I'm sure that when he was alive, Mr. Johnson had his fair share of feelings on the question at hand. So what does a man do when his tired bod is a mass of cellulite and tapped out BO? He hits the gym, armed with 300 mils of synthol. Skyrocketing in popularity through his countless workout videos, John Johnson accumulated a massive following. Everyone was in awe as he crushed out sets that would make Olympian lifters shit their spanks. Nothing apparently could hold this whey protein Apollo back, not even the ability to lift the weights themselves. That's right, as it turns out, Mr. Johnson was one of a growing community of fraudulent wankers. Our sordid tale begins last New Year's Eve when a fellow named Out of Shape 22 finally decided that enough was enough and declared his New Year's resolution along with the rest of us to get in shape and to save more money for his RRSP. And as luck would have it, he was an avid fan of Mr. Johnson's videos. In fact, Mr. Out of Shape 22 had studied every single minute detail in Mr. Johnson's posts in order to recreate his hero's routines. Now imagine, if you will, arriving at the gym, strapping on your brand new John Johnson lifting belt, tightening your John Johnson gloves, and pounding back your John Johnson creatine supplement. Now you're ready. You stare at the barbell, 300 pounds worth. You squat, you lift, and then double hernias erupt out your stomach. What went wrong? Why are my insides on my outsides? Well, that's because your shirtless protein hero has been using fake weights. On January 7th at 11:35 a.m., Mr. Out of Shape 22 posted his proof from a hospital bed of Mr. Johnson's subterfuge, and the moment that it hit the net, the outrage was instant and immense from his fan base. People unfollowed his account by the thousands, sponsors dropped him, and his reputation was reduced to mere tatters. Only that isn't what happened. While Mr. John Johnson was hit with a veritable barrage of accusations and questions from former fans and media outlets, he continued to rack up followers. His online store exploded as vanity cranks around the world ordered up the fake weights en masse, pulling John Johnson out of the shit soup he had found himself in and rocketed him into the rarefied, verified status. And this is where IK comes in. See, at this point, she was still a rumor, a next-gen Slender Man with Photoshop skills, but the internet, as the internet does, had already begun to spin stories and theories, and spurred on by his lack of punishment, some of Mr. Johnson's former fans even tried to summon her in retaliation to what they saw as his betrayal. I'm sure that most of these comments were made in jest, and even if they were serious, the odds of IK following through this early in the game were small. But whereas Mr. Johnson continued to rake in subscribers, IK began her very own campaign of audience engagement. On January 9th, IK began posting on Mr. Johnson's social media through various dummy accounts, first only replying to those crying out for his death at her hands. Comments like +1 like equals +1 kill and your wish is my command, signed IK. At first, no one took the comments seriously, and as they began to get increasingly more cryptic, most people lost interest. That is until January 12th, when user JohnJohn69, no relation, an eager fan trying to clear Mr. Johnson's besmirched name, posted a picture on social media that absolutely lit up the internet. A selfie of himself and the corpse of John Johnson, Weekend at Bernie style. Yes, you heard me correctly. A selfie with his corpse. Sad face. In the now deleted photo, Mr. Johnson could be seen a little singed around the edges and apparently electrocuted by his own Abtronic belts. Talk about bad vibes. Now, was the selfie in poor taste? Absolutely. Was it a little funny too? Absolutely. Hashtag too soon. Now, unfortunately, this is where the facts get muddy. Fan interference, as it was called by the police, mostly botched their investigation. Not much could be garnered from the crime scene, as by the time the police arrived, it had already been trampled by dozens of morbidly curious social media users. And for those keeping score at this point, that makes us IK2, Police 0. So what can John Johnson tell us about IK? My theory is that perhaps she has a certain kind of moral code behind her madness. I don't think she did it because she was asked to. She isn't a servant of her followers, she's a leader of sorts. She's a trendsetter, a tastemaker. Speculation aside, what are the facts? Well, two things. IK did kill Mr. Johnson, and I am flabbergasted that I'm actually about to say this, but his ab belt things apparently do work. That's all I've got for you, and judging from the quality of our conversation last week, that's all you've got for me. Good night. All right, hello everybody, I am Ben Robinson and welcome to another Caller Monday, where as always I will be talking with somebody from somewhere about the ever-present hot topic IK. Now I am a little under the weather today, so if you find today's podcast a little more provocative than usual, you're welcome. Alrighty, who is IK? What does she want? Let's go to a line.
Hello?
Alright, welcome to the show, man. What's your name?
Danny.
Okay, Danny boy, tell me about yourself.
I'm a really nice guy. I like animals. I'm keeping an eye on this IK thing,
Great. The last caller we had in had some relation to the victim. So the most recent victim that we know of right now is currently John Johnson. Did you know the victim at all?
John, I can't say that I actually did know John Johnson personally, but I mean, I heard about him. And,
Yeah, you and everyone else.
Yeah.
First of all, are you an IK follower? Are you a fan?
You could say I'm an IK follower, yeah.
You follow her. All right, part of the fan club, right on.
Not necessarily fan club, but...
Well, you're following her.
Yeah, I'm following that.
So it's a fan club. Now, are you yourself, Danny boy, on social media?
Can I skip that? Can I skip that question?
No, but just a yes or no is fine.
Yes, I'm on social media.
Okie doke. And how many followers do you have?
Can I skip that as well? I don't really want to.
Okay, all right. Well, just a second there. If anyone out there would like me to move on to another call, please
I got a million
silent.
subscribers.
1 million subscribers?
Yeah,
Hot damn, Danny boy. Good for you.
yeah, Danny Barr. with my cat.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Danny Barr with cooking with your cat
God.
on the show. All right, Danny Barr with 1 million followers on the IK show. Anything you want to share with us?
Well, yeah. I mean, like a lot. Like, what is going on? I'm like totally afraid that IK, whoever she is.
Oh, she's a she.
Is it she? Do we know that 100%?
No, not 100%, but we're just going to assume that I'm right.
Okay. Well, either way,
Let's just take that at face value.
I'm under the assumption that IK is coming for me.
Okay, and what? All right, so just take a breath. Take a breath.
Okay.
Just
All
in,
right.
out. Okay, why do you think that IK would be targeting you?
Well, I mean, okay. Here's a question I have for you. I mean, how do you know? You guys talk all the time about like he's got an MO, you know, like. But what if it's like ice cream? They wanted to change their flavor and go, no, I'm gonna target that guy now, and I might not be exactly what the MO is, but they're like, hey, Danny Barr, now that he's talked about me, you know,
Well,
blast me head.
I think serial killer motivations go a little bit deeper than do I want Rocky Road or Neapolitan?
I guess so, but I mean, I'm just really afraid that IK is coming for me.
All right,
And
so let me ask you something here, Danny Barr with 1 million subscribers. Are you an asshole?
no, I mean, I cook with my little cat.
Okay, so
Furball.
just-
I mean, you can't like cats and be an asshole.
Oh, you can like cats and be an asshole.
You can?
Hitler liked cats.
I guess that's actually a very good point. But either way, I am not an asshole. I mean, if you've seen my videos, I love cooking with Furball. He's adorable. He's cute. He knocks things over all the time. It's adorable.
Okay, so if you've got nothing to worry about, because all of IK's victims so far have been assholes. They've been.
Do you think a serial killer just stays with the same MO all the time? Like, don't you think it
Yes, that's how they get called serial killers. Otherwise, they're just murderers.
Really? Okay, but
Maybe there's some skeletons in your closet, and that's why you're calling in today. That's why we're all panicky. Oh, they're there. I can hear the bones rattling through the walls.
Okay, all right. I bought subscribers once.
You bought subscribers.
Yeah, I mean,
And how many subscribers did you
it's
buy?
like 10.
How many subscribers did you buy?
I bought 10 subscribers.
Danny. How many subscribers did you
It
buy?
was 10. Just 10 simple subscribers. That was it. I just tested it out.
So you thought you could buy 2 families of 5?
Yes, I did. Well, no, I was just testing it out. I was like, maybe this will help me get.
Just testing it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I probably would have kept that to myself if I was coming on the IK show.
Oh, great.
There's a reason I don't use my real name on the show. There's a reason I didn't come out and say, "Oh, hi, I'm Danny Barr."
You pressured me into doing that. That's not fair.
I pressured you into doing that
Yes, you did.
through a microphone.
Yeah, I mean, like, you totally pressured me. I mean, if somebody can be pressured to do stuff in the Facebook comments, then it's easy to do it through a microphone.
Have you been pressured to do something through Facebook comments?
Well,
Oh, Danny, I hear another skeleton.
I gotta be truthful. I mean,
Yep, you're on the air. You gotta tell the truth.
I stopped taking fan recipes lately. I mean, like, I was just pressured because it's a lot of work, and I mean.
You stopped taking fan recipes. So people would take time out of their day, with some of your million subscribers, go to your channel, watch your videos, post you a kind message, and you would just ignore it. Sounds like something a good person would do, Danny?
Well, it's hard when you got
You see, I think I see what your problem is here, Danny. I think you're pretending to be a really nice guy.
Why would you say that? I'm so nice. I cook with my little kitten, my cat, Furball.
Yeah,
you know?
you cook with your cat, but all your fans, which I just had a quick look online, your fans are actually called furballers.
Yeah.
So people who watch your show watch it for your cat more so than Danny Barr. They're watching it for Furball as opposed to Danny Barr. And maybe it's because you didn't put those recipes up. Those people just said, you know what?
No,
screw this guy.
It's not that. That is not the reason.
That cat looks like a friend.
No, they like Furball more. I mean, listen, I've done T-shirt sales, and everyone buys the Furball T-shirts. They don't buy the Danny Barr T-shirts, and it's upsetting.
Are they the same people whose recipes you ignore?
No, I don't know who I'm ignoring. It's just look, if it was up to me, I would totally cut the cat out of the video.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would you cut Furball out of the video?
I mean,
and then your furballers would be furballers following a man named Danny.
But I don't mean
that's just
okay.
peculiar.
I don't mean like I want to cut the cat out completely. I mean, I just want to minimize Furball because I mean.
You just want to censor your pet.
Okay, no, censoring is not quite the right word.
You're right. Oppression is better.
No, it's no. Okay, look, no. Okay, how do I put it this way? Okay, I've had the thought of cutting, Furball out, but I couldn't do it because Furball's so cute and it brings happiness to people's lives. But I'm like deathly afraid that IK knows my secret. Like she's somehow reading my thoughts, or he's reading my thoughts, whatever it is.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those tinfoil hats. They just let shit get right out there.
I don't know. It's just everybody feels jealous, and I mean.
Okay, so you're worried that you're on IK's list now because you've been thinking about cutting out your cat.
Okay, what I'm worried about is, like, I used to do, like, videos where, the cat would be in all the time, but I'm wondering if, because I've been thinking these thoughts, I have subconsciously cut the cat out, and now IK has noticed, and, like, you hate cats, and then you're jealous, and you have envy, and I'm gonna get you, and I'm just, like, I'm really worried about this.
Jesus, Danny, you should be.
Yeah, thank you for appreciating and listening to me, because...
Do you live alone, Danny?
Well, I mean, I live with Furball.
You ever start to think that maybe IK's not coming for you, per se?
What?
But she's coming for the star of the show.
No!
Just saying, your face isn't on the t-shirts.
No!
Danny, is Furball an assomeasshole?
What?
Furball knocks over things in your show all the time. Your cat seems to fit IK's MO. It's someone who's famous on YouTube, an asshole, not liked by their closest friend.
I gotta get home.
What do you think she's gonna do to Furball?
What? I don't know. I don't want to think that. I don't want to think what they're gonna do to Furball.
Danny, I think you have some deep thinking to do somewhere else. But we're gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna say thanks for joining us, but God knows why. All right, goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have been joined by Danny Barr, over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and some very, very deep-seated issues with his feline companion. Danny, if you're still listening to the show, if you have anything to unpack or unburden, or you just need someone to talk to in the future, please, for the love of God, don't call back in. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Good night. Is it ever good to be third? Have you ever noticed that the guy who wins bronze is always happier than the guy who wins silver? Happens more often than you think. And if you think about it, you lose silver, but you win bronze. Silver is a disappointment. Silver says you were good, you're just not good enough. But bronze, oh, baby, bronze medal shows up and everyone's just like, wow, man, you made it to the podium. That's not easy. So sometimes there is a perk to being number 3. However, when a serial killer picks you as their number 3, it's not quite the same. And as usual, this particular kill that we're talking about this week is just dripping with that sweet, sweet IK irony that has fallen on each victim like a goddamned anvil. I am, of course, talking about the infamous kill that earned Daddy's Little Psycho the status of serial killer, YouTuber Yoga Guru Admos, who was found with a 3/4 inch hole power drilled through his head. It makes you wonder whether in those final moments when the drill was coming towards him, his mind spinning with possibilities, whether he was more worried about his impending lobotomy or being forcibly given his third eye. Did he ask himself, am I that much of an asshole to be number 3? So, bronze or silver, you tell me. I am your host, Ben Robinson. Here's what we know. On February 24th, the then two-eyed Guru Admos was performing? Acting? We'll call it performing for the sake of calling it something. He just sits there for an hour and a half. It's like watching the goddamn Fireplace channel. Anyway, Guru Admos was performing his latest episode on the path to enlightenment, and sometime after he hit upload and before achieving gory nirvana, the image killer snuck into his home. Now, I don't like speaking poorly about the recently departed, but this guy was once caught meditating in a women's locker room, stating that it was the only place to, and I quote, relieve his burdened spirit. Yeah. And another time, he got into an argument that was anything but zen when he misquoted Yogi Saba and was being politely corrected by one of his acolytes. And then, of course, is the fact that he refers to his subscribers as acolytes. Is it possible to be more of a douchebag? I think not. So let's drill into this particularly grisly murder. Starting with the clue that we got from IK, it seems so obvious looking back. The post contained a brightly lit flat lay displaying fried tofu and 2 small finger gongs. I'm not sure what they're actually called, but finger gongs sounds moderately accurate. So we'll go with that, and if it's something else, you know what I mean. Now, if you look close enough at the post, you can see that there's actually the letters GA etched into each of the finger gongs. At first glance, I assumed this was probably some sort of yoga term that I wasn't aware of because I'm neither flexible enough nor woke enough to attend these hashtag spiritual sessions. And before someone goes and crucifies me for being ignorant, none of you are able to save him either, so go check yourself. What's fascinating here is the level of detail and balls that IK has now. It's like she wanted to commemorate this milestone of graduating from downward dog-facing murderer to rising crane serial killer. Or perhaps Guru Atmos just had monogrammed finger gongs. But let's assume for a moment that IK either etched the letters herself or specifically put the gongs in there. Just think about how cocky she's getting. Now let's talk about the death itself. I know this is likely going to flag my post with parental advisory, surprise, but it's the most ironic death yet, and I've got to go into it in the name of factual enlightenment. Here we go. According to the coroner's report, and quit asking me, I'm not going to tell you, we know that Guru Atmos wasn't dead when IK started up the drill. Either he was drugged or she played him into doing some kinky shit, sans safe word. I like to think it was the latter scenario because, well, there's a joke in there about him wanting to drill her, and then the tables turned, and actual drills are involved, and like I said, dripping with irony in what has become typical IK fashion. In a lawn sprinkler of blood, Guru Atmos was given a new hole in his head. To date, this was her messiest crime. And police were only alerted to the fact there was a body when the Guru's downstairs neighbor started complaining about a red stain on his ceiling. What astounds me is that, according to the report, it wasn't just the drill that killed him, at least not at first. That's right, Guru Atmos was in fact killed by poison, which means that IK might actually have a heart after all, and eased his suffering. On the other hand, that also means that he was conscious when the drill spun up for its gory delight. So, dealer's choice on that one. What should interest you about this unique little factoid is that poison is, classically speaking, a woman's weapon. I know, it sounds sexist, but if you think about it, really try to tap into that murderous corner of your brain. What's the easiest way to take down a chauvinistic, fit-as-hell, straight-edge yogi? Perhaps even the playing field with a little party punch in the chamomile. And yet, despite all of this evidence, nobody has a single lead as to who IK might be. Just let that sink in for a minute. Just get comfy, just snuggle into it. Because gold, silver, and bronze have all been handed out, and we're well into the honorable mentions, and no one knows who's running the freak show. My biggest takeaway here? At least we don't have the clutter of another phony guru spewing his garbage mantras into the minds of the masses. And that is all we know. If you've got a theory as to who IK is, one that doesn't suck, let me know. I'm taking a few more callers next week. Otherwise, until then, good night. Good morning, I'm Ben Robinson, and today is Caller Monday, the Monday when people call. By now you know the drill, maybe not quite as personally as Guru Atmos, but close enough. So, without further ado, let's see who crawled out of the woodwork this morning. Welcome to the show. What's your name?
Hi, Ben.
Hello. What's your name?
It's Isaac Kurt.
Isaac Kurt.
Yes.
Your initials are literally IK. Gonna call bullshit on that one, but okay. All right. Isaac, tell me about yourself.
I actually just want to talk more about IK, if that's all right.
Works for me. So, okay, let's just jump right in here. Are you an IK follower? I'm gonna go with yes.
Yes.
I figured as much. And are you on social media? And how many followers do you have?
I actually have a private account because I don't really want people to follow me. But actually, I like to tell everyone who's listening right now to follow IK because what she's doing is spectacular.
Great. Okay, so, all right, Isaac, you said you wanted to talk a little bit about IK herself. Let's just dive right in there. What's your opinion on her?
I think, Ben, you and I can agree that it is, in fact, a her.
Yep.
And I think that what she's doing is she's giving us clues to what can be a bigger picture. We just have to do our part and connect the dots.
Okay. And what do you think our part is in all of this?
We have to do our due diligence. We have to show our support by following it, by liking it, by sharing it, by telling the world that maybe it's okay to have someone represent us all.
So I'm going to assume here that you agree with what she's doing. And you agree with the brutal, if not creative, murders that have taken place over the last couple months. Why the show?
Because IK wants to display her victims. For example, John Johnson, we all now know he's what? A fraud. He's a fraud, Ben. And you know this.
Yeah,
I know this.
I don't think anyone's.
Everyone knows this.
I don't think anyone's disputing that he's a fraud. But do you really think that?
That was a great one.
Do you really think he deserved to die for that reason? Like, surely you've got to admit here that there's other people in the world that are probably a little bit more deserving of a visit from IK than others.
Let me put it this way, Ben. There are certain secrets about you I don't know. There are certain secrets about me you don't know.
That's a good thing.
But you and I both know that John Johnson, being a fraud, was displayed as a fraud. And we both don't know the capacity of his secrets.
Sure. So we don't know the capacity of his secrets. We don't know if he was into some really deep, dark shit. But what I'm saying is there are other people out there who are into that, are into crazy stuff. People who are way more deserving of a visit from IK, and yet...
Hold on. Are you IK?
No, I'm not IK, but why doesn't she visit them?
You don't know her purpose. You don't know.
I don't know her purpose, but I would say I have a better idea of her purpose than you do. Like, you don't know her purpose either. But I'm just saying is, she's going after frauds and people who are on YouTube and Instagram, and like, yeah, some of them are assholes, but are they more deserving to die than, say, a pedophile or someone equally bad? These people, their only crime so far is that they go on social media. Yes, they're a little bit of an asshole, but I don't know if that's enough.
What if this is just the start? What if this is the beginning by making an example of the assholes, the frauds, and then, Ben, it will lead to the pedophiles. It will lead to the criminals. It will lead to every single person who deserves to die.
Okay, buddy. All right, I feel like you're getting pretty excited over there, so let's just take a breath. Let's bring it back down. Don't blow your load. But Isaac, I got to level with you here. You have to admit that there's people out there that are more deserving. Just hold on. There's people out there that are more deserving to have a visit from IK than others. You keep saying she's going to build up to these big fish, these whales.
Ben.
But she's done, it's 6 small guys so far. 6 YouTubers. Like, what is she waiting for? Prime numbers? Does she work in multiples of 6? Is she going to level up after this next one?
It's not about
Is she going to get the Yoshi cape? Like, what's going to happen?
Ben.
Here? Is she going to when is she going to get to these whales?
It's not about numbers, Ben. Okay? It's about IK and IK's design. It's a plan. It's like an art gallery and IK bringing everyone to the art gallery to see the art on display so that everyone can see it because it's fucking art, Ben.
Are you still there, Isaac?
I'm so sorry, Ben.
You feel a little lightheaded there?
It's just, you don't understand. You don't get it. I do. I see it for what it is.
All right. Well, I'm not sure if I want to ask this, but is there anything else you want to share with us before you go?
Only if you don't interrupt me.
I won't.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, I just want to tell every single listener that IK is not just doing things. There is a design. Bundy, Dahmer, Gacy, all of them had designs. IK, what I think, IK has a design for all of us, including you, Ben. You have to see it through the eyes of IK. You're getting popular. You're full of yourself. You're way over your head. And you're treading water. And IK is the ocean.
Are you done?
Yes, Ben. I'm done.
Great. Well, it's been different, Isaac. Thanks for coming on the show, and yeah.
Thank you, Ben. It's just...
All right, we've been talking with Isaac Kurt, also known as William Shatner's creepy little brother. And apparently I'm treading water, so I'm gonna go dig out my water wings. All right, good night. Do you like surprises? Or do you just need to know? Picture this for a minute. You're 5 years old. It's a week before Christmas and you stumble upon a closet full of wrapped gifts piled inside just for you. What do? Get the steam iron, melt the tape off, take a peek and sneakily replace the package back knowing you've discovered the prize? Or do you wait it out like a good little soldier in a zen-like rejection of the material holiday? I can only assume that this is the internal struggle of all those YouTube unboxers out there. It's one of those genres that I just don't get. It's like watching other people play video games or eat pie. After a few seconds, you just want to do it yourself. Anyway, if you haven't guessed it yet, we are of course about to dive deep into the story of victim number 4, Perry Winklehorn. This kill was murder on mass scale as IK spread that little bit of cereal flavor nationwide. I'm your host Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. On February 27th, Perry, username PerryWinklePancake, posted one of his usual unboxing videos, this time featuring a custom-made fidget spinner made in his likeness and pancakes. It was a thinly veiled ploy to start his own annoying merchandise stream, and to his credit, it did work. In fact, hundreds of his followers bought in on day one, but when they got to doing their own unboxing tribute videos upon the arrival of their purchase, they were delivered a gory surprise, which made for a goldmine of some particularly disturbing and thoroughly entertaining reaction videos. Now, the reports and posts I've seen dispersed don't go into exact detail as to whether his entire body was distributed or just a few choice cuts, but needless to say, they were not exactly the best pieces to fidget with, except for maybe the kneecap. I don't know, it just seems like a fun joint. The post office has gone dark in light of this recent kerfuffle, but they did appear in front of the press long enough to say that they had no comment, and hope that the police can put Humpty back together again, which, with the current state of the Postal Service, could be anywhere from 6 to 10 business days, foregoing express shipping, of course. The police have been delayed in giving any statement on the original destinations of the packages, which unconfirmed reports have suggested as being a number of donut shops near Winklehorn's home. One of the elements that I find so fascinating about this murder is that she not only effectively used the service he was using to try to connect with his fans, but she also managed to make a comment of the vanity involved. Perry's whole slogan was, after all, a little piece of me to you for the price of $8.99. So, did fans get their money's worth? Now, on to the grittier bits. Perry was identified by his fingerprints and confirmed by several different police sources across the country where his digits were distributed, but more, less distinct pieces were also shipped. Authorities have searched his home and usual hotspots to see if they can find any evidence of his remains to no avail, which leads them to theorize that he was neatly packaged in 1 to 3 inch parts, warts and all, head to toe, but I don't believe that IK is that gruesome. Clue number 1, nobody reported finding any internal organs in the mail. Either she simply didn't send them, or she mailed intestines to someone who was already, in fact, expecting to receive intestines. Either way, probably best to err on the side of caution and avoid any homemade sausages for the next few weeks. Clue number 2, none of her kills have thus far required so much work. Farrah Isaacs would be the second most in this scenario, but even then, she really only got cut through the joints and placed into a pot. Clue number 3, her motives are more sophisticated. She has been described as an online hitman, some say vigilante even. I wouldn't go that far myself, but in order to earn that reputation, you don't typically bathe in your victim's blood for the sport of it. She's a professional, and I think there was a reason that 83 boxes were sent. Because where's the rest of them? Who knows? Until I get a blood-soaked package in the mailbox, I'm going to assume he's just in better places. And speaking about Perry, I don't know how he didn't see this one coming. Not to speak ill of the dead here, but looking at the clue, which was posted on the same day as his final video, the writing was on the social media wall. I mean, when IK posts a picture of a bloody fidget spinner garnished with razor blades an hour after you announce your own product line, which happens to be fidget spinners, wouldn't you stop and put 2 and 2 together? Or perhaps he didn't notice. IK has subtly grown into this social media phenomenon. She wasn't an overnight sensation. So it is possible that she flew under the radar, which might explain the surprise that came to Mr. Winklehorn. Perhaps he was just the unfortunate victim that became her signature subject for mail-ordered marketing, each fragment furthering her public awareness by putting an actual piece of her work into the hands of the people. Because let's face it, who doesn't like some free swag? This kill has been featured on several major news outlets, and with the similarities of the other deaths, it's hard not to notice. This is the Ice Bucket Challenge in serial killer terms, and it too has a cause. Mr. Winklehorn represented commercialism. He represented selling out. He expected the world to be handed to him, and all of these put him in IK's sights. Like I said, she's not in this for the gore. She has an agenda, she has a type, and she has the means to elevate herself into the big leagues of serial image killing. And with murders such as this, who knows how long it will be before she's caught. It took 17 years to catch the Unabomber, a career that lasted longer than some of you have been alive. So, how long will it take to catch the Unaboxer? I have my theories, but we're going to pick that up later. Until then, I wish the various authorities from all the jurisdictions containing a piece of Perry Winklehorn the very best of luck in what I'm sure is the most bureaucratic nightmare of a case ever conceived. And that is all we know. Sleep tight and be sure to use appropriate standage. All right, good night. Six, everybody. That is what we're up to in IK Kills. 6. She's averaging a little over 1 a month. She's getting through internet douchebags faster than I can get through a young adult novel. It's Color Monday. I'm Ben Robinson. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show. What's your name?
It's Adam Chen.
All right, Adam, thanks for coming on. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Personally, I'm like a marketer. So, IK, if you're hearing me, bud, let's take this global, bro. Let's take it global. IK worldwide.
Okay, all right, Adam, let's just bring this back for a second. What do you think of IK's methods?
I honestly think they're amazing, bro. The only thing is, IK, if you're listening, stop killing hot people, bro. Come on, you gotta stop that. It's bad PR, man. You gotta go after the ugly ones. Yeah, we understand, that they were kind of douchebags, but, bro, you gotta leave the hot ones alone. You gotta go after the ugly as sin ones, man. That's what you gotta do. And IK, if you're listening, with my help, we can get you there. Come on.
Adam, are you actually offering right now to represent and brand IK?
Yes.
Offering to help brand a serial killer.
You got it.
All right, quick question for you, Adam. What the is wrong with you?
Nothing. If you look at it.
You don't think that's a weird thing to come on the air and say? You don't think that's a little, maybe I shouldn't, help a serial killer get bigger?
No. I'm not trying to help him. I'm trying to assist him in getting in a global brand to get rid of these fake people. These fake-ass people. Yeah, John Johnson, it was kind of a misstep. It was a hiccup. He was a good-looking man, and you don't want to do that, bro.
Okay, you know what? Let's just break into that for a second. How would you do it? How are you going to help IK build her brand? What would you suggest, apart from stop killing pretty people, which is insane, by the way, because it doesn't fit with the MO we've seen in the first 6. She's killing the douchebags.
Well, yeah, but there were hiccups because they were pretty. But we can.
So you can't kill a douchebag because they're pretty? Why are you talking about killing ugly people versus killing pretty people? Like, how does that matter?
Like I said, the first 6 there were accidents, mishaps, or maybe they're just
Okay, whoa,
training.
sorry, Adam. Six people butchered in very, very creative and very specific ways isn't a mishap. That's not just, whoops, I spilled some milk. It's pretty evident that she had a motive. She had means.
This is where coaching and brand management can really help him out.
Okay, so
like you said, you gotta think outside the box.
All right, hold on. Let's talk about the branding. Would you help her with the method? Would you make sure that the method of the killing was a little more on point? A little less gruesome, a little more user-friendly?
You got to be creative to be in this business. Now, I would always just say...
Adam, it's not a business.
I want IK's image on shirts, like the next Che Guevara. I can get you to that level, bro. IK, if you're hearing me, bro, we can do this together.
All right, I have a hypothetical for you. So what if the absolute worst person, the worst douchebag that ever crawled out of the internet is a hot person? What if the worst person on the internet was John Johnson? And what if he's just evil incarnate? He's deadlifting a bus of orphans off a cliff into shark-infested waters. What if he's just a shitbag? Does that person deserve a free pass?
Well, let's let's admit it here. As I said it before, and I'll say it again. John Johnson was a mistake. Mistakes happen. I understand. John Johnson was a beautiful piece of meat, but we need to make up for that mistake, all right? This is why I'm here for you, all right, IK? I'm here for you, bro. Why do we fall? So we can get back up again. Let me be the Lennon to your McCartney, all right? Let's take this global, bro. Let's do it together. Don't worry about your mistakes. Shit happens. I understand. Let's move on from it.
Okay, Adam. All right. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Yes, what's that guy that called last week, Isaac Kirk?
Probably not his real name, but yes, that was what he gave.
IK, you need to kill this motherfucker. He's a creep guy. That's a follower you can lose, all right? You need to KILL his. You need to kill him.
No, why would
you kill him if he was one of your followers? Like, would you kill him?
No one in the right mind. No, why?
I understand you're saying no because you're on the air. People are listening.
All right,
IK,
bye,
hope you're listening. Just give me a sign, like push a button or something.
Holy shit, that was a waste of time. Okay, heads up, guys. I'm probably going to have to censor this one to make it past the YouTube algorithm. So I guess that's it. Good night. What's your confidence level? Take everything in your life, average it across the board, and give yourself a score out of 10. Where do you end up? You think you're getting that promotion? Landing that dream job? Do you think you're going to buy a house before you're 30? Do you think your place is nice enough to bring somebody over to? Do you think you've got enough of it figured out to matter? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Are you near the top? The middle? Are you dipping under 5? Are you considered tying up that noose but not sure you'd be able to pull it off? Or are you mindlessly browsing the web looking for little side projects to fill up your time? Things to take your mind off the hard questions. Things that with $50, an arts and crafts store, and 6 to 8 hours of mediocre work, you could produce another cheap piece of crap that'll look nice for 3 weeks before falling apart and getting recycled because you care about the environment, just not enough to stop building mindless crap. Well, rejoice. There will now be a few less of these manky time sinks to worry about following the death of none other than Kian Hassan, a legendary do-it-yourselfer whose ripped bod and charming smile never failed to bring subscribers back for more, until he was forcibly reassembled into a homemade coffee table, largely following his own tutorial techniques. So let's take apart this dovetail and see what manner of dollar store LEDs and contact paper comes tumbling out. I am your host, Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. True to IK Foreman fashion, a clue was posted, a person was murdered, and the just desserts were delivered. If you'd like a full artistic breakdown and postmodern critique, I'm sure Isaac Kurt is out there right now, mulling it over, enjoying a nice Chianti. Now, unfortunately for Kian Hassan, he wasn't always worthy of IK's list. There was a time when his online career began when his projects were joyful, playful, and even, dare I say it, useful. He took pride in his work, subtle scented candles, a picture frame key holder, a piano board dining room table. His work had merit. It was creative. He, unlike so many others, actually had some skill. It was the kind of stuff people would look at and go, oh, you did that yourself. Oh, it's so lovely. And for a time, things were lovely. Until they weren't. As everyone in a creative field has and if not will discover, Kian Hassan fell under the curse of the dreaded creative impotence, the mental ED. And so rather than take a break and make something in confidence, he began producing crap. Have an old bookcase? Contact paper it. Old desk? Contact paper. How about something you contact paper before? Screw it! Why stop there? Get the contact paper and do it with stripes this time. And as usual, his fans ate it up. Project after project, Hassan churned them out like a Pez dispenser of gold-polished turds, and it was around this time that IK added our handyman to her list. Kian was found about 48 hours after his estimated time of death when his girlfriend reported him missing. He was found dismembered, varnished, lacquered, and reassembled, his smiling, jacked bod preserved forever beneath 4 layers of polyurethane and a tastefully chosen soft-mouth contact paper. A typical IK kill, or was it? For those familiar with Kian Hassan's work, for the true fans who had been watching for years, there was something eerily familiar about his final project, and that was the striking resemblance it bore to his first. Which makes me think that perhaps IK was a little more invested in this one than she wanted to admit. Some of the other victims so far have been brought to her attention through relatively recent events, but not Mr. Hassan. While victims like John Johnson and Kelly Line were doing themselves no favors to stay off the list, Kian Hassan's only crime was mediocrity and a steadily declining viewership. So could it be that our killer was once an avid fan of his show? And unlike the other subs, who were willing to let Kian continue the downward slide into mediocrity, she decided to step in and protect his legacy in her very own special way, as only she could. Now, according to neighbors, Kian had spent a longer than normal time working in his workshop that fateful day, and that there was a period of an hour or two when the power tools were going full throttle. Which brings me back to confidence. How confident are you? Confident enough to chop a man to pieces with power tools and spend a couple hours doing it? Confident enough to do it with witnesses in earshot? Confident enough to walk out the front door after you'd finished, and confident enough to know that you're getting away with it? So next time you're freaking out over a big decision or chanting the latest mantra out of your self-help handbook, just stop and think for a moment. What would IK do? Would she cower in the corner, or would she just get out there and do it with confidence? Now if you're thinking to yourself, wow, that's actually not a bad idea. Well, you just took some self-help from a serial killer. What the hell is wrong with you? That's all I've got for you. Good night. All right, welcome back to the show. It is Caller Monday. As usual, we're bringing somebody on the air today to talk about IK, the image killer. So let's go to the line. Let's see who we've got today. All right, welcome to the show. What's your name?
My name is Daniel Isaacs.
Okay, Daniel, and why don't you tell me a bit about yourself?
My wife was Farah Isaacs, and you seem to know a lot about her, so I guess I don't really need an introduction.
All right, well, just want to say sorry for your loss.
Are you?
Yeah, of course I am.
You don't seem like you're sorry.
In what way?
In every way. The way you talk about her like she's just an object, like she's just a piece of the puzzle. She's a human being, and I don't really think you are sorry. I think this is how you make a living, and she's just one other person.
I'll be honest, yeah, we do put that little bit of a spin on it to try and get a few more hits.
That's what it is, hits?
End of the day, man, that's the name of the game.
Right.
So I'm sorry if I'm coming across as cold or unfeeling, but yeah, that's largely...
You're not sorry that you're coming across cold and unfeeling. That is exactly what you intend to do. So
That is
I don't
exactly what I
understand that
intend to
you
do.
are sorry. So
I'm
let's
sorry.
just say the sorries because you're bullshitting me right now and you're bullshitting everybody that's listening.
All right, I am sorry that you feel that way, but I'm not sorry about what I'm doing. So yeah, go ahead. What did you want to say?
Well, I just want to basically tell you exactly how I feel every time I hear my wife's name on your show.
All right, go ahead, man.
She's one of the most important people in my life. She was one of the only people I had in my life until she was completely taken away from me. And every time you talk about her, you open up that wound over and over again, the one that I'm trying to close so I can move forward in my life. And you're tarnishing the good memories that I have of her. And slowly you're starting to imprint these doubts. Was she a bad person? Did I miss something? Did she deserve it?
The doubts that you're talking about are just widely held public opinions. That's not me.
Do you feel good about what you do?
Yes, I do feel good about what
You
I do.
feel good about talking about people as if they're objects and making the world doubt them as good human beings?
I feel good about putting together clues about a serial killer and putting them out in the world for people to see. And if the format that it goes out in is just in a way to get people's attention so that they listen to it more, I'm fine with that.
I always wondered though,
Go ahead.
have you been investigated
By who?
as a plausible suspect?
As a plausible suspect, no.
It's interesting that you've never been a suspect.
Yeah, and that's fine. If the authorities want to talk to me, they can do it. They can call me up. They can bring me down to the station. We can have a nice long chat like we're having right now.
God, you're a f***ing prick, man. I don't know how you do it, man. I actually don't understand how
What-
the f*** you can do this.
What don't you understand?
How you can just completely talk about people and completely disrespect them, like you're doing with my wife.
And how am I disrespecting your wife? Have I said anything that's untrue of her? Have it? No. Seriously. If we're gonna talk about being disrespectful here, have I bent a fact? Have I said anything which hasn't come from either the public opinion or hasn't been found as a fact in a police report or another investigation? Have I?
No, but this is
You might disagree with the way it's getting out there, but nothing coming out on this podcast is a lie. And I know that's hard to hear. I do. I understand that. I appreciate that. Like that our loved ones maybe people don't like them as much as we do, but it doesn't make it false.
But what is disgusting is that this is how you make your living. This is how you make your money, by just taking the people that have been killed for what? Being, you call them what? Just being assholes? And then turning it into a source of income.
Nobody makes money off of the good stories, off of the little kittens and the puppies that went down the well and got saved, or unicorns. Like, every journalist, every paper, every media outlet makes money off the bad shit. That's how the news has always worked.
God damn it, can't you just respect the fact that I'm asking you not to talk about my wife? I don't know why the I called you, but all I'm asking is just to not talk about my wife the way you're talking about my wife. That is the last person I had in my life, and she was taken away for what? Being an asshole? All I'm asking is for you to just stop talking about her the way you're talking about her. That's it.
I can't tell you that I will stop talking about facts. I can't do that. And if you don't like the delivery, man, all I can say is just stop listening to the show. But if it's getting the word out and it's getting a theory across and it's maybe shaking something loose in someone's mind, that's what it's for. And yes, I'm making a few bucks on the side, but it's my job.
Go to hell, man.
Okay, I'm just going to leave it there for now. Yeah, Mr. Isaacs, if you are still listening, we all are deeply sorry for your loss. And in no way do I condone the IK murders. But at the end of the day, you need to realize that if the media stops, if we stop reporting, if we stop doing our job, every time someone's feelings get hurt, we'd never report anything. Our newspapers would be 60 pages of Marmaduke and Pepsi ads. All right, that's it, guys. Good night. How do you grow your brand? What's involved? Do you diversify? Do you launch new products, expand to new regions, hire more employees, or do you just increase good old content production? IK has killed 6 people that we know of: Kelly Lime, John Johnson, Guru Admos, Kian Hassan, Perry Winklehorn, and Farah Isaacs. And as far as launches go, it was aggressive, consistent, and definitely eye-catching. It's everything you would want it to be. But then IK went silent. No more clues went up. No more corpses were found in avant-garde displays. And for a little while, people were starting to hope that maybe she just stopped. Maybe this was just a little one-off thing she needed to do to get some stuff off her chest. But of course, there are those of us, and most of you are listening here, that know if it's too good to be true, it probably is, and that if someone is really good at something, and I mean ungodly talented really, they don't tend to stop until they have to. And IK, our own little bloodthirsty Energizer bunny, is most certainly in that position. So what has she been doing for the last few weeks? Diversifying, hiring help, or is she just getting ready to start increasing production? Because if you haven't seen it yet, a new clue is up and live online. Only now there's no doubters saying it's a hoax or a conspiracy. It's not some kid pranking the world. Everyone is taking her seriously now, and everyone is listening. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. The clue I am, of course, referring to can be found on IK's Instagram, which, while not having any actual ties to the serial killer herself, or so we think, whoever is running the account at Image Killer has done a detailed job of tracking down the clues and consolidating them into one place. Maybe there's a pattern, maybe it's just a fan. I don't know why they're doing it, but if they ever feel like coming on the show and chatting about it and sharing some thoughts, I'd love to have them on. Now, the newest clue to go up was an image of 2.5 human hearts, which makes me think of 2 possibilities. First, this could be a reference to something surgical in nature, or at least anatomical. But the second, more obvious connection is pretty clear to anyone who grew up with any kind of retro gaming system or half-decent PC. The latest IK clue bears striking resemblance to a particular video game health bar, and one that is dipping pretty near to game over for whichever player IK has chosen. But who could it be? Specifically, Ben, come on, give us a name. Don't leave us hanging. Well, I don't have one for you because I'm not psychic. What I do have for you is the theory that this is going to be someone heavily involved in the gaming industry. This person is a pro, and this person is an asshole, which in the online world of gaming is one hell of a long list. But to be sure, there are worse offenders than others. So do you think it's you? Are you one of those trolls that looks for servers ripe with noobs to boost your stats? Or is IK aiming bigger? Maybe it's a developer. One of those unscrupulous game designers who's pumped a franchise full of more bukkake microtransactions than a vintage porno theater. Regardless, we all know the criteria for an IK victim. A loud, public asshole, and someone who, despite the method employed, we can all agree probably had something coming. which leads me to believe that we're looking for a Twitch streamer. Public, check. Loud, check. Dickish, typically. But as for criteria number 3, that tends to go on a case-by-case basis, but they're not that hard to single out. Social media thrives on the clickbait, the controversial, the offensive, the trend, and any and all means to get noticed. And for those that think that's going a step too far, that that's hurtful to your feelings, well, get over yourself. You had 3 months of watching people get butchered left, right, and center, so stop being such a prick. You didn't change shit. Now, if you want to stick to your principles, that's fine. I respect that. Believe me, I do. I would certainly stick to mine. But do yourself a favor and take some precautions. Don't just assume that because you think you're in the right that nothing can happen to you. Don't be that arrogant. So, to sum that all up, Twitch streamers beware. If you have a following, if you are in the public eye, do yourself a favor and start looking over your shoulder. Change up your schedule. Once again, this is just my theory based on the facts that I have, and if you don't like it, that's fine, because in 7 days, IK will be delivering a corpse. So please, enjoy your opinion while it has the possibility of still being relevant, because one way or another, we're gonna know who's right. That's it, guys. Good night. All right, guys, it's Caller Monday. It's Monday. We've got a caller. You know the drill. Let's see who we've got. Welcome to the show. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Nina. I'd prefer not to give my last name, Nina G.
That is a wise thing to do, Nina G.
Well, I've been listening to you lately, and honestly, I think...
Sorry, just quickly. Does your last name start with G?
Yes.
Not so wise.
Okay, well, I mean, apparently I'm not going to be able to get a word in here, but yeah, I was just saying, like, a lot of people are giving out their last name on this show, and I really don't think that's smart if we think there's a serial killer out there.
Do you think Ben Robinson is my real name? You would be wrong.
What?
What? You don't, like, I do this every week.
Okay,
Do you really think I'm giving out my real name on the air?
I didn't think you'd be using a pseudonym. That's weird.
Not really. I'm talking about a serial killer who's killing online people, and I'm an online person. Have you ever heard of Joanne Rowling?
No, what do you...
Exactly. You ever heard of J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, that's Harry
exactly.
Potter.
Same person.
Okay, but are your initials BR?
I'm not giving that out in the air.
What? Like, how many BRs are there in the entire world?
How many Nina G's are there in the world?
I don't know.
More than 50? Less than 10?
I don't...
Oh, who knows? All right, anyway, so we're getting a little bit off topic here. So, Nina G, tell me a bit about yourself as you're comfortable to do so.
Okay, well, the reason I'm actually calling in is I'm a single mom.
How old is your child?
My child is 5, and I don't know if you know about children these days, but even a child of 5 wants to have access to computer games, and so how easy is it for them to stumble upon something that they don't understand? So I feel like you're just throwing all this stuff out there, you're making it a bit of a joke, and I feel like it's really upsetting.
All right, let me ask you this then. Does your 5-year-old have a cell phone?
No, I haven't given my 5-year-old a cell phone.
Okay, so how does your 5-year-old get online?
Well, when I'm around, my 5-year-old can play computer games, but one click of the button and suddenly they're on some other site, and that's actually how I came across your site.
That's what parental locks are for on your computer.
You know what? I don't know the newfangled stuff, okay?
It's not even newfangled. That's been out last at least 10 years, but I'm just gonna...
How am I supposed to learn about that? I don't know how to figure that out.
Do you know how to use Google?
I know how to use Google. I prefer Bing myself, but yes, I know...
Bing! Golden oldie there, okay.
I prefer Bing. I think it's safer.
Same difference. Put it in Bing.
I don't know why you're laughing. I feel like
I'm laughing because this isn't remotely the worst thing on the internet.
Of course it's not.
This doesn't even break the top 1,000 worst sites. This is like Sesame Street.
But why does it have to be so graphic? Why do you have to go into so many details?
Well, that's what it is.
What do you mean that's what it is?
It's a show about serial killers, talking about the serial killer and how she's killing people.
I think you hate women. I think that's the problem. I think you hate women.
Why? Okay, break that down for me. Why?
Because when females call in to your show, I find you very short, very rude, and you cut them off a lot. Secondly, the fact that you just assume with no kind of information or any kind of facts or data that this serial killer is a woman.
No, there's actually a bit of supporting data there. So
okay, what? I'm not familiar with what data you have.
Okay, so a couple things. So first of all, one of the victims was a victim of poison before he was murdered. Poison is traditionally a woman's weapon for murder. Now, just before you jump in there, does that mean it's 100% for sure a woman versus a man? No, of course not.
Of course not.
Of course not. But
of course not.
All the victims are also all under 160 pounds. Even the weightlifter, even the bodybuilder was under 160 pounds. He was a little guy. And by the way, should you wish to subscribe, the red button is on the bottom right-hand corner of the video box, and don't forget to click that notification bell.
I have no interest in subscribing to your channel. Why would I want to subscribe? As I told you, I think you go into too much detail, and I think you're glorifying these serial killers.
Nina, just let me stop you there. You do realize that the show is for adults, right?
Of course
it's
I do.
It's not kids.
But children have access to this stuff.
If you're letting your kid run wild on the internet.
You have a responsibility to protect the children.
Why?
Because
Why do I have a responsibility to protect the children?
they're
that
the future.
Aren't mine.
They're all we have.
They're not my kids.
You don't care. You don't care about the victims. You don't care about women. You don't care about anything except yourself, about your own popularity.
Great. Wonderful. Well, Nina, we're going to wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to share with us before you go?
I just want to say, John, if you're listening, you're behind on child support and you're an asshole.
All right, guys. Well, that's enough of that. For any parents out there, please do make sure to check your parental locks on all your computer systems. Also, for those of you who weren't aware, baby gates are now a thing. Crazy, I know. It's cutting edge stuff that's coming out. You should look that up on Bing. All right, good night. Have you ever had your heart broken? Those first few months that seem to drift by in a happy daze. Then comes your first fight, then the second and third. Then there's the week of no speaking, always a fun one for the kids. And then finally the band-aid comes off and you're left alone holding together what's left of your shattered emotions. Cause it's either that or your heart exploding in your chest from an unintentional overdose. Welcome back, everybody. I'll get right to it. IK has struck again, and the victim is a Twitch streamer. Specifically the late Ana Reyes, aka Anatomical Destruction. Last week I gave you my breakdown of the clue, and today it feels pretty on point. I'm not trying to gloat, but if anyone from the various relevant authorities out there would like to chat about maybe thinking outside the box, give me a call and we'll work through some stuff, because whatever you're doing is just not working. Now I'm aware that's coming off a little strong, but people are literally dying. So, I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. The clue last week was 2.5 human hearts, which I theorized was pointing to someone in the gaming industry, and sure enough, Ana Reyes now lies on the slab, another fleshy monument to IK's legacy. Now, does she deserve to be there? Well, apparently someone thought so. Ana Reyes was best known for her Zelda speedruns, on which she currently holds the world record for several of those games. She was also well known for publicly ridiculing first-timers and veterans alike whenever they posted their own speedrun attempts. Or could it be her consistent ability to reach the top of any competitive ladder in almost every FPS that she streamed, all the while spazzing out and trash-talking the other players? Sounds pretty harmless, doesn't it? Well, not exactly. You see, despite these harmless streams, in which she constantly belittled her competition, there were a few adamant gamers out there convinced she was hacking the games themselves. Specifically, a speed mod that gave her a slight advantage on reaction time. Now, one gamer in particular, Machine Gun Hippo, posted a video detailing this little nuance of our newly outed script kiddie, only to be completely destroyed by both Ana Reyes and her legion of teeth-gnashing fans who descended on poor Mr. Machine Gun Hippo with a barrage of death threats, spam emails, and flags on his account. That's right, kids. Slander campaigns are not just for grown-ups anymore. And this wasn't just a one-time occurrence. Back in 2017, another gamer actually beat Reyes in an online head-to-head competition despite the hack advantage, which threw her into a rage and once again resulted in her unloading her legions of favor-hungry fans on the competition. Agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. The queen is dead. And the manner in which she was killed this time was surprisingly sneaky, but completely true to IK fashion. While Ana Reyes was not mutilated or dismembered, she was poisoned. And unlike Guru Admos, who was drugged and killed afterwards, this time it was the drugs themselves that did the actual deed. IK's choice of poison? Caffeine and Adderall. Now, interestingly enough, the amounts needed to kill Reyes, which, according to the Tox report, was not insignificant, were already present in the victim's home. You see, another part of Anna's key to success in the world of online gaming was a mix of caffeine, Adderall, and energy drinks. Only this time, on that fateful day, when she snapped into what she thought was a fresh can of fizzy heart attack juice, it was laced with a little extra helping of something special. Viewers watched as she attempted yet another speedrun and giggled as Anna went into another one of her famous spaz attacks, much to their delight. She screamed, she flailed, she cursed, she panicked, and then she died, all the while clutching an energy drink in her hand. Now, the makers of that energy drink, which sponsored the late Twitch streamer, or Twitcher, as she's been dubbed by IK followers, has declined to comment as they deal with the fallout of their share prices plummeting into the depths of hell itself. And now for a little shameless self-promotion. If Reyes had popped one of them little blues, that's slang for Adderall for all you squares, and tuned into the show last week, maybe I'd be talking about someone else right now. In other news, since her death, Anna Reyes' legacy of records and stats has been under a brute force attack from all the people she's pissed off over the years. Speed runs, kill ratios, all erased, and competitive wins are falling like dominoes. And I'd wager, if she's not personally helping out with the task, IK is probably tuned in right now to a Twitch stream or two of her own. So who knows? If you're one of the brave souls out there taking down Reyes' legacy either through some hacking of your own or just some plain old grinding, remember that it may not just be disgruntled tweens watching you from across the web. Alright, that's it guys, good night! All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Caller Monday. We all know what that means. I'm Ben Robinson, so let's just get right into it. Welcome to the show. What's your name?
My name is Mackenzie Galea.
Okay, Mackenzie Galea, and plowing right along here. Are you an IK follower?
I definitely am not.
Really? Not at all?
No.
So are you on social media yourself, though?
Yes.
So is part of your reason for not wanting to follow her, are you concerned about yourself, or is it just too morally reprehensible?
It's mainly for the moral reasons.
Yeah, for sure. But there is a third party to that, which is you do have people who are following her because they're scared, because they want to make sure that they're not going to be next.
But Ben, doesn't it concern you that if one person was able to gain such a large social media following doing something so disturbing, what's to say that there wouldn't be other people that it would encourage their behavior? They would be like, yeah, I could become famous. I could just go out and kill a bunch of people and gain a large social media following.
So you think that we're in for that IK's followers are gonna rise up as a mass of copycats and just purge the nation of assholes?
Yeah, I think we're on the tip of that, because we've never had anything like this before. We don't know exactly where it's going to go, but I think it's a very, very high possibility.
That's true. We haven't really had anything quite like IK before. We've had serial killers in the past, and they've terrorized the nation, and they show up in papers. But I think what you're getting at is their reach was always pretty contained.
Exactly.
Well, it's all well and good to say, but what can you expect people to do beyond just unfollow her? Just ignoring the problem, sticking your head in the sand that's not going to solve anything.
It's a first step forward, because right now she is getting the power from the fact that you are following her. If she loses, majority of her following, if she becomes this small thing, that could take away some of her motivation, because right now, Ben, we don't know why she's doing it.
It could, or it could add to it. And rather than killing one person at a time, she goes up to killing 5 or 10 because she just has to have that following back.
Hello again, Ben. I'm so glad you've decided to join in. Good job on figuring it out. I'll have to do my best to make it harder for you next time. And to your fans, your little band of investigators, well, Mr. Hindmarsh, Miss Moonlight, Mr. Mort, and Brennephile, keep guessing. You might figure it out after all. And Leon Lewis, I'm so glad you subscribed. Isn't Ben's work interesting? See you all soon.
Just have that. I'm not disagreeing entirely with what you're saying, but I think we do need a little bit more of a proactive way to deal with her and catch her. It's just choosing to ignore the problem and pretending it doesn't exist isn't going to help.
I disagree. Whether you're somebody who's following her because you're scared or you're actually supporting her, you are responsible. Even this podcast itself could have possibly given IK more followers. That is a problem.
Well, sure, it's part of the problem, but you can't just expect the free press to just vanish overnight because it would be the right thing to do. Even if it is the right thing to do, which in this case I'm not saying it is. Take yourself, for example. You're not a follower.
Absolutely not, no.
So how do you get your information about IK? Through the news.
Well, Okay, I can see where you're going with this, but I do think it's better than following somebody who, is murdering all these people.
Well, you know what? I guess it is. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thanks so much for joining us, Mackenzie.
Thank you.
Wow, that was actually a really good conversation. Mackenzie, if you ever feel like calling in again, please do. We'd love to have you back on the show. That's all I've got for you. Good night. How valuable is your safety? Let's run down the checklist here. Do you password protect your phone? If so, do you ever lock your door? If so, do you have home security alarms? If so, do you have cameras monitoring who comes and who goes? If you said yes, do you have a PIN pad or voice-activated security measure? And finally, do you use a fingerprint entry system? Or do you just say, to hell with all that, I've got myself a trusted 12 gauge underneath my pillow? If you said yes to that last question, well, I think I've got some bad news for you, because our liberal-minded social media killer has posted another clue this month, and if you're the outdoorsy type, you might be next. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. The image killer is on a roll. She went dark for a little bit, but she stepped back up to the plate of death, and she's really not the kind of girl to walk a base. This morning an image emerged, and now lives on the collated Instagram page following the clues, a simple image of a bullet with the word boom etched into it. So let's dissect the multitude of meanings this could have. Let's start with the bullet. Now, this could reference the method that she intends to kill the victim, but she's typically not that blunt about it, and it lacks a certain je ne sais quoi. The clues have always pointed more so to the person than the method. Plus, a bullet would just be far too lazy for IK fashion. So what does it mean? Well, she just killed a gamer, and she doesn't have a habit of killing with a theme. I could be wrong on this one. Gamers might be her particular flavor of the month for all we know. But if you ask me, I don't think it is. I think she got it out of her system, at least for now. So don't worry, Twitch streamers and YouTube gamers, your use of boom headshot is not going to get you killed this time around. But all the same, you might want to avoid it going forward. We can also rule out Danny Trejo, star of the movie Bullet, because just no. And I don't want to see any comments about that. Do not post them, just leave it alone. So could it be a military vlogger? Maybe. But once again, my guess is no. IK kills haven't ever been political. I'm not saying that she's not going to start, but she's more of a sociological sociopath. Plus, it would open an entirely different metaphorical can of worms on her own public image. Veterans and military officers are, generally speaking, respected to a certain degree. So to target someone just because they're a military brat wouldn't garner her any more of the good press that she has received thus far. So what does that leave us? Well, for those of you who keep up with current events, I apologize for wasting your time since you're probably screaming it into your phone right now. I am, of course, pointing to the growing popularity of the online gun enthusiast. So now we know the pool. Time to jump headfirst into the deep end and scrape that scum from the floor. If you're familiar with this world, you'll know that we don't have to swim too deep to find some funk clinging to the walls, because let's face it, nobody likes trophy hunting, napalm-smelling alt-righters on the internet. This is where the writing on the bullet comes into play. My theory is that this is the specifier of the clue, boom. This does not reference the sound a gun makes. Well, it does, but hardly significant. There is a second meaning. I decided to do some online searching using the tags gun enthusiast and boom, and what I found was interesting. There were 3 prominent members of this community that I think fit the bill. Potential victim number 1. A trophy hunter who's essentially a roided out Logan Paul. This guy must have thousands of haters out there, and probably several that would kill him if they just got the chance. This guy hunts and gloats about how stupid the animal was in an obscene display of pseudo-machismo. Most videos have age restrictions, but luckily for you, I'm over 18. This guy's channel name is Boom Bitch Got Another One, and it's a certain brand of special. Potential victim number 2, a gun reviewer named Boomer Branson. Yes, that is his legal given name. Now, nothing seems that wrong with this on face value, but his most popular videos include rants that are borderline neo-Nazi. And as a neo-Nazi, well, let's just say his views on gay marriage and racial equality are pretty much right where you thought they'd be. Just alt-right at the gates of hell. Potential victim number 3, a channel named Boomtown that features videos of these 2 hillbilly brothers taking pot shots at the ground near anyone who walks near their property under the claim that they were trespassing. I know. Just when you had that little flicker of hope for humanity, you find that. So who could it be? Well, if I were a betting man, I'd say that Boomtown has the lowest odds. While their videos are absurdly frustrating and annoying, a substantial amount of them do appear to be staged. Boom Bitch will ruffle any animal rights activist's feathers, but as I've said before, up until now, IK doesn't strike me as someone with a political agenda. While the channel attracts a certain collection of the internet's finest douchebags, are these guys removed from this earth level? Maybe, maybe not, maybe she'll get to them later, who knows. So that leaves us with Boomer Branson. The gun angle is the weakest here, I know, but this guy, his channel, his entire online persona just has no redeemable quality, except that he claims he doesn't hate Jews. Honestly, I feel like my browser history is forever unclean after watching some of these videos. So my money, and I'm not usually a betting man, lies in potential victim number 2 being in IK's sights. So Boomer, if you're listening, I've got a feeling that somewhere out there, IK has a bullet with your name on it. And that's all I've got for you guys. Good night. Welcome back, everyone, all you happy campers out there, and if you've seen the clue, maybe the not-so-happy campers. It is Caller Monday. I'm Ben Robinson. Who do we have?
Hey, Ben. How's it going?
Good. Oh, God. Is this Danny? This is Danny Barr, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
It's me. So, I saw you got hacked?
We did.
Yeah.
It was pretty harsh learning experience there, if I gotta say so.
I mean, how did they do that? That is crazy.
Well, we're looking into that. We're hoping it's not going to happen again, but we pretty long suspected that IK had
okay,
some...
look, I saw the clue.
All right, we're talking about that now.
I saw that clue, and oh boy, that clue is really, it's jumping out there.
Yep, sure. What do you want to talk about, Danny?
Well, I want to talk about the clue because, like...
Do you know one of the supposed victims we think is going to get ganked this
Yeah,
week?
it's me. He's gonna kill me. The boom is for me.
Okay, all right. Okay, so Danny, you think that the 9mm bullet with the words boom written on it is in fact a clue to kill a man who cooks with his cat.
Yeah.
You want to break that down for me?
Well, okay, all right. So it's in the clue. It's a bullet, right? And
Yep.
for me, I use a magic bullet. Like I want to use the slap chop, but it's just a little too violent for me. So I use, the magic bullet. I blend up stuff in there, and it works actually surprisingly really well. You should give it a try sometime. But and then the boom on there, and that's what sold me. At first, I was like, okay, there's a bullet, but the boom is what sold me because every single time I use the blender and then I unscrew it and then I throw it on the table and it's like boom, there it is. That's what I say. I say boom, there it is.
Okay.
So it's me. They're after me. They're finally coming to get me.
Danny, just okay. Take a breath.
I was right.
Danny, it's not you. Okay.
No, it is.
We talked about this in length last time you were on the show, and honest to God, I probably should be charging you for this. But IK's MO is you need to be an asshole. And what did I ask you last time? Are you an asshole? And you said...
Well, wait a minute.
What?
No. See, okay. I mean,
You said no.
Look, no, but you don't know. Now I get it. Because the magic bullet, it's like my crutch. I mean, I want to be like, Mr. Ramsay, but I can't because, like, I'm afraid of knives. I can't be a real good chef, so I gotta use the magic bullet.
Sure. But do you hide that fact? Do you show a picture of you with a knife? Do you cut away? Do you come back having shown the magic bullet's results? Like, are you taking credit for something you're not doing, or no? Because if I had to guess, I would say that you're not. You're not.
No,
are
I'm
you?
not. I'm pretty honest about it. I mean, I don't tell people why I use a magic bullet, but yeah.
So, Danny, are you an asshole? We're right back to this again.
No.
You're not. You're not an asshole, okay?
I mean,
you're a pretty nice guy. If
you
anything,
sure?
you're so nice, it's kind of annoying.
I guess you're right. I mean, I bought some really nice food for, Furball the other day, so yeah,
Great.
maybe you're right.
Wonderful.
Okay.
That's fantastic. But dude, you gotta stop getting so worked up about this. I'll you know what? I'll tell you what. If I have a 10% inkling that the next clue is going to be
can
about
it be
you,
like, can we maybe do like an 8?
no, 10. I will give you 10%.
3, please.
10 is better than Vegas odds.
9.
That's good. No, you're getting 10. Okay. If I have a 10% inkling, know what? No, fine. I'll give you 9. If I have a 9% inkling that the next clue is going to be about you, I will let you know.
Okay.
I'll get in touch with you. I'll tweet you. I'll post something in your comment section.
You'll tweet me?
Yes, I'll tweet you. I will let
thanks,
you know.
man. You are.
But for this one, dude, you need to chill out. Okay?
Okay.
It's not going to be you. I think we're going to leave it there for today. anything else you want to say before you go?
No, I think I'm okay.
Great. Okay, well, everyone, we've been talking with Danny Barr, and bye, Danny.
Oh, you're doing a good job, by the way.
Thank you. Leave it for the comments. All right. Once again, if you have a theory that doesn't involve a magic bullet, a cat, or a blatantly ripped off catchphrase, want to be careful with that one, Danny, head to the comments. That's it, guys. Good night. Do you ever hate being right? What if you were able to predict something? Something that you didn't want to be the case. Like when you have that pit in the middle of your stomach, you know it in your guts, but it's not a particularly pleasant piece of knowledge. Like you've just done that 4th shot of Cuervo and you know in your heart of hearts, this is now a problem. Well, if you're anyone who's been following the Image Killer closely, you'll know that I am, of course, referencing my prediction from last week. So, I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. If you saw the news late last night and follow this podcast, which, if you're listening, I assume you do, then you know that my prediction for who IK might take out next was in fact correct. Pause for dramatic effect. Correct. Now, I'm not so petty as to point out how many of you disagreed with my theory, but know that I took no joy in the murder, just in that warm, chocolatey knowledge that I was right and you were wrong. Anyway, the kill, surprisingly, was completely in line with IK fashion. Boomer Branson's body was found at 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon, buried in the dirt backstop directly behind a gun range. His body was covered in a thin layer of dirt after he was rendered unconscious, and then he was accidentally murdered by hundreds of rounds of ammunition that gun owners shot towards the back of the range at their own targets, and comical zombie cardboard cutouts. This is a Machiavellian kill in its purest form. She scores points for technical difficulty and bonus points for creativity. If I had a score sheet, I think this would be near the top of IK kills. So allow me to break it down for you. But if you're too squeamish for the topic of death, take this moment to punch yourself in the head. So let's take it back to the beginning. I'm going to make some assumptions here, but as we now know, my assumptions are normally correct, so we'll just roll with it. IK tracked down Boomer Branson based on his racist, gun-enthusiastic rants that he posted online. Once tracking him down, she just had to find a way to render him unconscious. My guess is based on one of his older video rants called Hold My Beer. She likely spiked his drink with a sedative and waited for the pill to do its magic. After that, it was all about getting that perfect plan in place to put him out of his misery. And what's fascinating is that IK didn't necessarily kill him. She just put him in immediate and imperative danger. Now, maybe she did strap on some goggles and earplugs and plug a few rounds into Mr. Branson, but that's neither here nor there. Because, to be fair, it's going to be almost impossible to determine which bullet actually did the deed, seeing how it was the SMG Expo weekend at that particular gun club. But here's where things really get interesting. Somehow, IK managed to get the body from point A, the local dive bar where his truck was found, to point B, the gun range, without anyone noticing. Police did scrub security footage from the gun range and no evidence was found, which means that she must have some sort of technological prowess here, as I've long suspected. How's that for a bit of juicy intel for all you investigators out there? No alarms triggered, no security footage, and 12 hours later, a dead body is found continuing his dirt nap with the addition of a few thousand bullets. Now we know that she has the means to move a body as she sees fit, and now we know that she is not unfamiliar in dealing with security technology, but she also knew that this would be a confirmed kill. I don't know if this was a big accomplishment for her or if this was just simply another day at the office, but getting back to the current case on hand, the creativity here is what really sets her apart from other serial killers. She loves creating these bureaucratic nightmares everywhere, and this one works flawlessly. It's a message to all gun enthusiasts, because if they didn't enthusiastically fire at Boomer's body, albeit unwittingly, then Boomer would still be alive. So what do? Do you charge 76 people with manslaughter, or are you just chalking it up to bad luck? Based on the press release that was issued, I really don't think the police have any leads here. The body was found likely within 18 hours of it being placed there by the marshal who drew the short end of the stick and had to go rake the dirt at the end of the day. Noticing a strange discoloration and smell, he decided to dig a little deeper and was met with about 155 pounds of lead-seasoned hamburger meat. According to Mr. Branson's toxicity charts, it appears that he was given a hefty dose of horse tranquilizer 8 hours before his time of death, which means that the bullets did officially kill him. What's interesting about this is that while we've seen IK use sedatives on victims prior to their demise several times now, this is the first time we know for sure that she made personal contact. I hesitate to say that it's added to her MO, but it's hard to ignore the emerging pattern. Does she befriend them? Does she approach them posing as a fan? Whatever it is, it looks like she's made it part of her process. And it makes sense. Lull your victims into a false sense of security, make them feel safe, or better than safe, loved. Then hack them to bits with gore and irony. So if you're out there and a new and excited fan reaches out to you, don't leave your beer or vital organs unattended, or you might find yourself going out with a bang. That's all I've got for you guys. Good night. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. It is Monday. We have a caller. You know what we're getting up to. All right, so let's see who's on the line.
It's Sergeant Robert Barteski.
Barteski, officer. I just want to say I'm pumped to have you on. Go ahead. What did you want to talk about today? I can guess.
What's your guess?
I imagine you're here to talk about the image killer investigation, or lack thereof.
Wow, you're a real Sherlock Holmes there.
Well, I am a person of interest in the case.
Yes. Look, you've been right once. You were in the ballpark another time with NRAs, and now you've called out Selma 99, and I want to know how.
You know how.
No, I need something more. Why Selma 99?
She fits the clue, in my opinion, the closest. She's a reposter. She's copying other people.
Look, we've got thousands of reposters. You've narrowed it down to a best guess. That's all this is for you as a guess?
That's a best guess. That is what it is.
Coming to the point here, you're messing with our investigation.
I'm messing with your investigation?
Absolutely.
How? If I've been right 1.5 times so far.
See, that's the thing. Whoever you guess, whoever we work to protect based on your guesses, IK can simply change her target.
But have you tried saving one of those people? Are you going to try and save Selma 99?
No comment.
Are you going to just ignore her and hope that IK just doesn't bump her off?
No comment.
What can you comment on?
At this point, every time that you put something public rather than coming to the police, you harm the investigation.
By putting out a warning, I am threatening the investigation.
You're causing a problem for us, and it needs to stop, or else we're going to have to bring you in.
Okay, then bring me on as a consultant. I'll help you guys out. I'm happy to. I'd love to get a look at those case files.
Right now, we have somebody who's in jeopardy, who you have put in that position with your best guess.
It's not my fault if somebody goes online and acts like an asshole. If I go jaywalking and I get smoked by a car, the onus is on me for that one. Should the guy have stopped? Yeah, sure, probably, but it falls into my court for being the wrong move.
Sounds like you're saying that Selma 99 deserves it.
Well, not quite, but she's putting herself in harm's way. You gotta see that.
So she's putting herself in harm's way. By your analogy, she deserves to go down.
I'm not saying she deserves to go down, but if there's a serial killer running around killing people wearing pink hats, and you go outside and you're wearing a pink hat, don't be surprised about it.
It's my job to protect, not to judge. I can see I'm not getting anything out of you.
Well, it's been fun. That was Sergeant Barteski we were chatting with, and if the police want to get in touch with me for any consultant work in the future, please feel free. But until then, freedom of the press. All right, guys, good night. How do you deal with failure? We've all experienced it, some more than others. At some point in our lives, something will go wrong. We'll get set back, lose a job, a girlfriend, possibly a kidney. But how do you deal with that moving forward? Do you wallow, cry, give up? While there's certainly some folks out there that believe you need to sit down with your counselor every time they run out of hazelnut syrup at Starbucks, I am not among them. Welcome back, everybody. As I'm sure you all know by now, IK has delivered on her promise, putting her just one Vic away from hitting double digits, a milestone for any profession or hobby. And I can't help but wonder what kind of cake she's going to go with for the office party. I don't know why, but I feel like a red velvet is just appropriate. And as I'm sure one or two of you are going to point out in the comments if you aren't already doing so, my last theory on who was next missed the mark pretty hard. I was wrong. I can admit it, but what can I say? No one bats 100. So once again, how do you deal with failure? Because for me, when beholden with the rare situation of being wrong, my gut reaction isn't to panic or get upset. I don't run screaming to my computer as I watch followers abandon the channel. No, I sit down, I have a nice 15-year-old single malt, and I figure out what went wrong where. So with that in mind, as always, I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. The clue last week was a set of cookie cutters shaped like men, which I took for meaning a chronic reposter was sure to fall at IK's hands. And all things considered, I wouldn't be surprised if that was on her docket for later. Anyway, that was the clue, that was my guess, and unfortunately for the latest victim, ginger-haired vegan baker Forrest Rumian, I was wrong. I just wasn't expecting her to be quite so literal with a red gingerbread man maker being the clue for a gingerbread baker. There's usually a nuance to her work, but I guess the curveball is just part of her charm. I've moved past it, so will you, and now let's dive into the tale of the gingerbread man. Forrest Rumian was running a channel on YouTube dedicated to the evils of gluten, never missing an opportunity to damn us wheat bellies and our unhealthy, disgusting lifestyles. In addition to being loud, obnoxious, and gluten-free, as I said before, he was also a vegan. And no, I'm not going to start damning vegans for their dietary choices and their unfounded love of kale. You can dress it up however you want, a leaf is a leaf, it's never going to be as good as a crispy strip of bacon. Anyway, Forrest was one of those crusading vegans intent on using every opportunity, fact, bullshit tidbit, and moral superiority complex to cram it down your throat and raise himself a little higher by stomping on your meat-stabbing canines. In addition, he also went after other chefs, condemning their shows, flagging them for animal cruelty, and on top of that, he used to call in health inspectors and elite Yelpers with the sole intention of trying to get them shut down, unless you were willing to make a few alterations to your menu and donate to his Patreon account. That's right, the Jolly Ginger Giant was running an extortion ring. A vegan, gluten-free extortion ring. It really is a brave new world, which came tumbling down once IK got her hands on it. Now this kill is different than the rest because IK has stepped outside her norm of killing people under 160 pounds. Mr. Rumian was definitely over that, but maybe he wasn't particularly strong, caused by, I'm just putting it out there, perhaps a lack of protein in the diet. Whereas IK has been putting in the time, she's been eating her Wheaties for breakfast, and now she's moving on to bigger prey. Now last week I mentioned that maybe IK would take it easy and just cut some brake lines on a car, and I'll be the first to admit that method of murder could not have been further off the mark. Mr. Rumian was found late last night having been flayed alive and missing well over 80% of his skin, which had been removed with, can you guess? Cookie cutters. And yes, it was the cause of death. So, how much skin do you need to lose before bleeding out? Well, it turns out the answer is 110 gingerbread men, 55 hearts, and 24 snowflakes. Now, unlike previous IK crime scenes, this one had some signs of disturbance. And Mr. Rumian himself had ligature marks around his neck, which don't appear to have been fatal, but definitely capable of knocking him out. And that alone provides a very interesting clue because it's not that easy to strangle somebody. Not impossible to be sure, but it requires a certain level of confidence which you don't just wake up one morning possessing. If you're getting that up close and personal with somebody, you know how to handle yourself. And more importantly, the other guy. Which is making me think IK has some experience in the self-defense arena, and not in the fancy crap that looks pretty and is largely useless, something practical. Krav Maga, MMA, something being actively used by professionals. And in case a certain Sergeant Barteski is listening, don't worry, that one's on me. As always, IK has done her best to create another nightmare for the police. As I'm sure right now, there's some poor assistant down in the morgue doing his best to match up which piece went where, like a giant fleshy memory game. But what could this mean for IK's next kill? Because next up is number 10. So maybe this was a practice run. Maybe she's planning something big for the anniversary. Maybe she's at home right now, polishing her good knives, ironing her best black hoodie, and weatherproofing a crisp new pair of leather Hitman gloves. We're finding out one way or another. That's it, guys. Good night. Hi guys, welcome back to another Caller Monday. Topic of the day, I was wrong. Selma99 is out there right now breathing another sweet breath of fresh air, and Forrest Rumian is lying in a few dozen lunchbox-friendly shapes. All right, you're on. What do we got?
Hi Ben.
Hi, anonymous caller. Can I get your name?
Can I skip that?
Yeah, sure. All right. Are you on social media?
Can I skip that as well?
Yes or no? That one I won't let you skip. That laugh sounds sinister over that thing. All right, how many followers do we have?
I'm not really comfortable telling you that.
Just give me a ballpark.
Over 1 million subscribers.
And last question for you: are you a cat or a dog person?
Cat person.
Cat person, great. So, Danny, how about you turn off that vocoder?
This isn't Danny. This isn't Danny Barno.
You can just click it off.
No, who are you talking about? Vocoder. I don't know what you're talking about. I just
Danny, seriously, turn it off, buddy. It's like listening to RoboCop in a bathtub.
I don't want to turn it off.
Okay, so it is Danny Barla.
I don't want to
All
turn it
right,
off.
buddy, just come on.
I don't want to turn this thing
Yeah,
off.
and I want to have a conversation. I don't want to talk to the Terminator.
Fine. Is that better?
That is.
Okay.
Great. It's actually a person now.
Ben,
Danny.
you were wrong.
Yeah, so what?
Okay, I'm a little upset because you said you would call me, you would text me, you would message me if you had like a 10% inkling that it was me.
Yeah, if I had a 10% inkling, which I didn't have because guess what? It wasn't you. Case in point, not lying in a pile of blood right
But
now.
it is me.
It's not
gonna
you.
be me next.
How is it going to be you next?
Look, it's gonna be me next because she just killed a baker. She's on a cooking binge now.
She's not on a cooking binge. 1 kill does not make a binge. 2 or 3? Sure, I will give that to you. It is one off.
No, I know she's coming for me, and that's why I had the voice vocoder because I just didn't want to. I don't want people to know because I'm changing my tune. I'm getting rid of the channel and I'm going into hiding.
So you're quitting?
Quitting.
Yeah, you're quitting. You're giving up the channel.
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm quitting, and I'm giving up because I don't want her to find me because I know I'm next, and I'm worried that you are too.
Okay, well that's sweet. Thanks for worrying. I'm gonna be just fine.
You're not listening to me. I'm trying to tell. I'm worried about you, and I want you to take the right precautions to protect yourself.
Dude, I did take the right precautions.
What do you mean? You're doing this thing. You're like right in the limelight.
I'm not in the limelight. You're in the limelight. Danny Barr, cooking with my cat. Here's my name. Here's my face. Come and kill me.
Well, why do you think I'm going into hiding?
Well, I guess go fire up the resume, buddy. Like, what are you gonna do now?
I don't know.
Are you gonna cook?
Probably.
Danny Barr, the guy who runs the cooking channel, is going to go be a cook in a restaurant.
I can't really.
Not really hiding. I think you should go a little further
she'll know
afield. Maybe try insurance. Try sales.
Look, Ben.
Maybe you should be a professional mountain biker.
Benny, would you
Clown?
would you just listen to me for a second? Look, I'm worried that because you're in the limelight, you are next. Because I'm going first, then it's going to be you. We're good friends here, and I just want you to be safe.
Okay, first of all, Danny, we're not friends.
No, we're friends.
We're not friends.
What are you talking about?
I've
friends.
had longer conversations with a bank teller.
Okay, all right. No,
We're not friends, dude.
Yes, we
You
are.
call into the show.
I call in the show, and this is what hurts so much is that I won't be able to call in the show anymore, and we won't be able to have our awesome, magical conversations.
Magical. I don't hate it, but we're acquaintances. Maybe. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off the beaten track here. Thank you for your warning, but
But you're not going to do anything to prevent this.
prevent what? IK from killing people? How am I
IK from
supposed to do
killing
that?
you.
I have taken precautions. If you are potentially on IK's list, I am probably your best chance of staying alive. So therefore, I'm going to apply that to myself. And if a clue
That
comes
doesn't
up,
make any
which might
sense.
be me,
You were wrong about one. You're not saving anybody.
I might have saved Selma 99.
How do you know?
If I was right about Selma 99,
Yeah.
I'm saying it could be 50-50. I could have been right, and then IK went and targeted someone else, or I could have been wrong. But if I'm wrong, I was still right about Boomer Branson.
Yeah, but you could be wrong about.
Well, I guess we'll find out on the next one, right?
Okay, my question is, what are you doing to protect yourself now?
I don't feel comfortable giving that information out, Danny.
Well,
All right, Danny, we're going to wrap this up now. Anything else you want to say before you disappear into hiding?
you're being a bit of an asshole, Ben. And you say that IK goes for assholes, so just watch yourself. Goodbye, Ben.
All right, goodbye, Danny. Well, we've been chatting with Danny Barr, formerly of Cooking with My Cat, yet another defunct channel joining the pile from the Adpocalypse. And that is all I've got for you guys. Good night. Is your brand inconsistent? If any of you run a small business out there, or even a big one, this is a pretty serious problem. And if you have half a brain, you know that your brand identity is sacred. It is the cornerstone on which the church is built. Welcome back, all you happy, faithful few. Just a heads up before we get going, as I'm sure most of you know, I've had some recent correspondence with the authorities, notably one Sergeant Barteski. Because of this, I'm going to be speaking a little slower going forward so that the good sergeant and the rest of the worker bees down at the station can keep up with their note-taking. So, I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. Brand problems are internal. That's right, they come from within, like motley little capitalist tumors. They happen after you've built your brand. You've established your reputation, your client base, customers, contractors, whatever, and then you pull out some last-minute lukewarm bullshit and they all look at you like you just porked their mother with a rolling pin. Where am I going with this? Well, IK's clue this week is a dog wearing a red collar with the words, "You're next, Sarah!" exclamation mark, written on it in ransom note text. No, not physically cut out letters, but font-generated ransom note text. That's literally it. You're next, Sarah. Nothing else. I don't know what's up with IK this week, guys. Maybe she's had an off day. Maybe she had a rough night and just decided to phone this one in. Hell, maybe she's finally giving up and inviting the cops to catch her. And if you're listening, Barteski, that was your cue. I'm just confused, that's all. You spend months building this killer brand, this bloody, horrific, and completely condemnable brand. But you build it nonetheless. You put in the hours of planning, the execution, and delivery, and then this bootless piece of crap comes along. So that being said, I guess let's get into it and dissect who's going to be next. I don't honestly see the point, but here goes. This is obviously an online pet persona. Owner, blogger, groomer. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, but I'd wager her name is Sarah, and I'd also wager that she has a white dog. So potential victim number one is Sarah Tales. She's a pet blogger. No shit. With a white dog and a red collar. Now, she's been around for a few years or so, and her posts range from the saccharine sweet to the full-on diabetic. She runs a pet clothing line and spends most of her days taking requests from her fans for which outfit she should try and make next. Most recently, a set of pooch armor inspired by Thanos, complete with small light-up infinity stones. Now, she's received some complaints in the past from animal rights activists because her pets always look notoriously unhappy in their new threads, but I mean, who can blame them? Imagine your mom decided to dress you up in a homemade Halloween costume for shits and giggles once a week, and you were powerless to stop her and or complain about it. Now moving right along, we have up next, no one. That's right, you heard me, Barteski, no one. This is it, she is the one. Now choke back the donut and go find her. We do, however, have some honorable mentions which, while not in the running for IK's next victim, might want to consider changing their ways to avoid some future reprisals. So first up, we have FreeLeash55. If you didn't guess by the name, this guy believes that leashes are an act of tyranny against our furry friends and refuses to leash his dog in any park, mall, or restaurant. He's been banned from about a dozen establishments for this reason, but still keeps fighting for animal rights to be free and treated like equals in our society. If you're looking for a worthy animal cause to get attached to, one would think he'd start with poaching or kill shelters. But what do I know? Honorable mention number 2 is Jen DeWitt, a longtime animal lover whose current dog is a white Tibetan Terrier named Bilbo with a red collar, which is adorable. Now, what is the level of Jen's sin to get her on the IK hit list? None that I could find, because once again, this clue is complete bullshit. So as I said before, Sarah Tales, if you are listening, get somewhere safe. Stay at a friend's, go to the police. I am sorry to say you're gonna be next. And for Barteski, I am calling this one as Sarah Tales. That's S-A-R-A-H space T-A-I-L-S. And who knows, maybe the reign of IK is coming to an end. Maybe she's run out of creative mojo, happens to the best of us, and rather than step off on a high note, she's gonna ride that train all the way downtown. Of course, I could be wrong. It's entirely possible that this clue is a much deeper puzzle than I initially thought, and IK has gone from making clues that require some noodling out to puzzles that require a Mensa Club membership. Let's hope not, because if that's the case for most of us, she might as well not be leaving clues at all. That's all I've got, guys. Good night. Hey guys, Caller Monday. Congratulations on making it here. You can type. Today I want to talk about that last clue, that steaming pile of garden sausage that went up last week. What do you think she's up to? Do you think IK is dropping the ball? What do you think? Who do we got?
Hi, Ben.
Is this Isaac?
Correctamundo.
Isaac Kurt?
Yes. Ben, how are you?
I'm good, Isaac. How are you doing?
I'm actually quite insulted that you're calling IK's work a steaming... What was that? Pile of shit?
Garden sausage. But yes, that is the analogy we're going with.
You're wrong, Ben, and I'm here to clear that up.
Feel free, man. That's the point of the show. Let's have you launch right in. Why is this clue of IK's not shit, whereas the other ones seem to show a certain, a higher level of quality? What's your argument here?
The argument is that you, Ben, do not appreciate art. You're looking at one dot. You're looking at one piece of the jigsaw. You're not looking at the whole canvas. And it's because you've been following IK maybe a little too close.
Says you? I'm following IK too close.
I have an appreciation for art while you trash it.
That's not quite the same thing. I love art. I love movies. I love paintings. Not a big poetry guy. Just, I can't get into it.
You like the commercial and bullshit that every zombie out there is consumed by. You cannot appreciate real art, experimental, mind-opening. You look at one facet, one little thing, and then you forget because your attention span is so short, but you can't see the bigger picture.
Oh, I don't forget, I've been following very closely, like you just said, everything that's gone up so far. And if IK is not making something that's for general public consumption, why is it going on Instagram then?
How long have you been following her, Ben?
Couple months at least, 4 months.
Don't make me laugh. I've been following her longer than you.
No, I doubt that because she's only been around for 4 months. So how could you possibly have followed her longer when she didn't exist? Unless this is a confession. Are you IK? Do you know her personally? Or are you time-traveling Jesus and do you loop around every 3 months to see what's going on?
Don't use the Lord's name in vain.
Right. No, but seriously, do you know IK?
We have a connection. One that you will never, ever understand.
Yeah, but I mean, the clue's still bullshit.
It's not bullshit, Ben.
It is a bullshit clue.
Don't call it bullshit.
Bullshit. First 6 were way better.
Don't call it bullshit.
Bullshit clue.
It's not bullshit.
Garden sausage clue.
It's not sausage. It's
garden
not
sausages.
bullshit.
It's garden sausages.
It's not bullshit.
It's a dog with a collar and a name.
I think it's pretty good.
But you have to admit that each artist, they all have their style. They have the way they like to work. They have the realm of subjects they like to work in. And then every once in a while, an artist will sometimes slip up. And apart from their usual normal great stuff,
Ben.
you get a nice big slab of shit.
No.
It happens. Like I'm not saying
Ben.
she's lost it. I'm saying it happens.
She didn't lose anything. She's a genius.
No. Just being creative doesn't make you a genius. Her last clues, they had means, they had potential, they were complex, they had some intricacies to them. This one was just ham-handed.
Well, why don't you elaborate on ham-handed? I don't get that, okay? Because you clearly can't see the art and the genius behind it. So elaborate. I want to know what makes it ham-handed.
Earlier clues, they were interesting, they were intricate, they had some nuance to it. This one is a meme made by a psychopath. It's not clever.
The thing is, Ben, is that you always have to find some sort of elusive or meaningful reason to tie things in. That's what you like to do. You like to dissect things, and I can sense that you found an appreciation for her previous 9 clues.
1 second there, Isaac. You're saying that I, Ben Robinson, have an appreciation for IK's 9 previous clues.
Yes, Ben.
Wow, Isaac, I thought you were paying attention. Do you know she's up to 10 now, right? Well, on that deeply, deeply embarrassing note, we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything you'd like to say before you go?
Thanks for asking, Ben. I actually have something in my mind. Adam Chen. If you're listening, know that IK is watching you.
Okay.
And then she's going to abduct you.
And
then she's gonna tear you apart. And then IK's gonna kill you. IK's gonna kill you. Good luck.
Still. No, he's gone. Okay. All right, everybody, we've been chatting with Isaac Kurt. Always memorable, rarely enjoyable, sometimes humorous, and we'll see you next week. That's it. Good night. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Caller Monday yet again, and this week we want to be talking about the copycat. Is there one? Is the copycat working with IK? Let's just get right to it. All right, welcome to the show. You're on. Who do we have?
Hi, my name is Jet Patel. I live at 46 Harvey Road in Brampton. I'm 5'8", brown hair, brown eyes. I was last seen at my home, which I'm currently calling you from.
Okay, just a bit of housekeeping here. Do you want me to edit out your personal information?
Why would I want you to edit it out? I just told you everything.
You are aware there's very likely a serial killer listening to it.
That's fine.
That's fine. No issue.
Do you want me to give you some more information?
Sure. What do you do?
Well, I'm in the entertainment business. I'm a comedian, or I think I am. I've been in it for about 11 years, actually. It's been quite tough, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of it that I kind of suck, and I might need to move on.
Okay, I just want to backtrack for a second. You think you're a comedian?
Well, here's the thing. I've been trying really hard, you know? Like, giving it all. And every time I go on stage, it just... they just keep booing me, you know? And I'm not getting the laughs, you know? I get the laughs from my parents.
First of all, I think you should really be calling into a helpline. You know that you called into the Image Killer show, right?
No, I know this is the Image Killer show.
Okay. Why are you calling?
To talk about the Image Killer.
Good. Excellent. So this week we were talking about the copycat. Do we have one?
There's a copycat?
Yeah.
You said something about Image Killer.
There's the
I
image.
thought we were talking about Image Killer.
Yeah, we are talking about the Image Killer. The copycat is copycatting the Image Killer, just not as well.
I would love to know that person's contact if you can give that to me, like, immediately.
All right, Jet, if anyone had that information, it would go to the police.
Why don't you just tell me who the copycat is?
Did you find me on a Google search?
No, my haters told me about it. The trolls.
What were you getting trolled for?
For my real comedic act. The real Jet Patel. Not the fake Jet Patel that you see on YouTube.
Jet, why are you calling?
I just got a lot of hate mail. Well, actually that doesn't exist anymore. A lot of hate messages on YouTube. And they've been just telling me I should just kill myself. I actually get Image Killer to kill me. So, you know, I'm kinda like scared to like do the deed and, you know, kill myself. Because I don't know what's involved. I tried Googling it. So I'd like to find Image Killer and just like finish me off. Non-sexually, I mean. Like kill me.
You want the Image Killer to kill you?
Yes. Without any pain. Painless. Like kind of one of those heroic deaths.
Hail of gunfire?
No, I think
Saving
that would
an orphan?
hurt. No, maybe like a overdose of something that's pleasant, but I kind of fall asleep. A petal of roses sort of thing.
Honestly, is this part of your act?
No.
Are you running your stand-up past me right now?
My act is talking all Indian. You want me to talk Indian? Is that gonna persuade you? Do you want me to talk like this? Is this going to help you?
I just want to know if
Hello?
you're fucking with me right now,
Hello?
or this is a serious
I'm from
conversation.
Markham. I'm very funny. I drive a taxi or an Uber sometimes. I want extra money. I don't like spicy food.
Oh, dude, what do you want?
Look, I told you I'm a comedian, and now I got all these haters telling me I should be killed by Image Killer, and I'm thinking, you know what, Jet, that's a great idea. These trolls know what they're saying, because I want to be infamous through my own death, all right? Can you make that happen, Captain?
How am I supposed to help you out, Jet?
I want you to help me find the Image Killer. That's your job, right? You're a journalist.
I am looking for the Image Killer, yes.
Yeah, so we can use me as a ploy for you to find the Image Killer.
I'm listening.
The deal is that she kills me, and then you catch her. Boom.
The point of the podcast is to find the Image Killer, or the copycat at this point. It is not the fucking suicide shopping channel.
Should I say it in my accent? Will that help?
All right, we're going to wrap this up.
You find me, killer. I find you, rupee.
Okay, Jet, is there anything else you want to say before you go?
Yes, Image Killer. I'm going to be in my home between 7 to 10. I'm going to be in the basement. I'm going to be in my underwear, unarmed.
Okay, bye,
watching
Jet.
American Pie 2.
Bye.
I have rose petal.
Okay, everyone, we've been talking with Jet Patel. In future, going forward, we're going to start screening these. I am so sick of having these useless conversations. So, IK, if you're listening, please just ignore this guy. He is clearly missing more than a few French fries from the Happy Meal. All right, that's it, guys. Good night. Do you play well with others? Now, before I get into that question, there are a few things I want to clear up. First, we are breaking some fresh ground today because since the last clue went up, I have no doubt in my mind that we are also dealing with a copycat. That's right, boys and girls, 1 and 1 makes 2. Second, I know what the biggest question on everyone's mind is, or at least what it should be, is the copycat working with IK? Wrong. No, Sergeant Bartesky, they're not actually working together. IK does not strike me as one to share the limelight. No, she seems more like the type to rip your beating heart out of your chest for even considering such a base insult. Which brings me back to the question of the day, do you play well with others? Well, today's clue seems to make it abundantly clear that our copycat certainly does not. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. The clue is a picture of what is presumably human skin cattle branded with the initials AC. Are you kidding me? It's not only a brand, but it's literally a brand featuring the initials AC. Come on, man, this is too easy. Who do we know that fits this clue to a Che Guevara emblazoned tee? Come on, guys. That's right, you hungry rascals. It seems that someone was listening to Isaac Kurt's little outburst last week, and now our favorite deranged PR agent is in the sights of our copycat. So, Adam Chen, if you are out there and listening, run for the hills, get your ass to Mars, escape from New York, or whichever pop culture reference you prefer, because this week's clue was without a doubt pointing to you, complete with a parade float accompanied by a 10-piece marching band and a supporting drumline. Hell, get yourself into protective custody if you have to, because the copycat seems to be none too pleased with your attempts to work with IK, and I honestly don't know how he's planning on killing you. But judging from what we saw last week, it is not going to be pretty, or even marginally creative. Maybe death by 1,000 brands. Nah, that'd be too fitting and too clever, because like last week, the clue is complete garbage. It's not puzzling, it's not subtle, it's devoid of IK's dexterous wit, and it is firmly the work of our copycat. Now, you all might be saying, wait, Ben, maybe the copycat's trying to outsmart you, and my answer to that is not bloody likely. Why? Because while we know that IK has listened to the show in the past, I don't believe its content has ever influenced her work. It would make things too obvious, too easy, and we know that IK enjoys above all presenting a challenge. So the very fact that Adam Chen is possibly the next victim makes me believe that the copycat is 100% listening to this show. Shout out to you. But unfortunately, he's now been completely confirmed to be devoid of any sort of real creativity. So, who is it? Maybe it's Adam Chen himself, still trying to get in IK's good books. Maybe it's Allison Duran, Kelly Lime's best frenemy. Or maybe I'm overthinking it and it's the obvious choice, our resident creep, Isaac Kurt. Could even be Sergeant Bartesky. Could be. Whoever it is, they've called in and we've talked to them. And while we don't know much about the copycat, it's someone who clearly craves attention. And not to toot my own horn here, but what better way to get attention than to call into the IK show? Of course, that idea also makes my skin crawl, but it's still food for thought. Which in a roundabout way brings me back to the question of the day. Do you play well with others? Because what's actually baking my noodle right now is how IK is going to respond to all of this. You see, IK has standards. I'd hesitate to call them morals, but she's not gutting people without reason, whereas our copycat is, dare I say it, without scruples. You just have to look at what he did to Sarah Tales to know, and yes, I said he. This one I'm a little on the fence about, but seeing the way he killed his last and possibly first victim, not much of a stretch to say this was driven by some pretty common motivators. Power and sex. Now, that is just my best guess, as everything else is on the channel, so accept it, deny it, it doesn't matter, we're moving forward. But what happens when a new player starts edging in on your territory? On social media in general, it's hard to go a day without seeing someone rip off someone else or regurgitate some old quotes and facts. Anything to raise those little pedestals of crap just a little higher. But what does one do in the very niche market of serial killing? Because to the best of our knowledge, this isn't an homage to IK either. Usually that happens after a killer goes inactive. And unless IK was captured on some other charge or smoked by a bus, without us knowing it, she's definitely still alive and planning her next kill. No, this is an asshole who's trying to steal the limelight by force and hijack IK's brand. So what is IK going to do about this? Share? Lend a helping hand? Track him down and add him to her growing body of work? Or maybe she'll just let the police take him out. It's less work for her at the end of the day and it keeps her out of harm's way. Maybe she'll even throw the police a bone, who knows? All I'm saying is that regardless of IK's involvement is that I'm leaning towards the police angle here. I mean, this guy clearly isn't in the same league. He's not creative, his work is sloppy, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I wouldn't put it past Bartesky and the Mystery Squad to wrap this one up for us. The thing is, we may never know for sure because IK's been surprisingly silent since the copycat put up his first clue. She hasn't posted anything herself, she hasn't made a statement, hacked a video, she has gone completely radio silent. But maybe that's how she's been protecting her brand. After all, it does make sense. You let the copycat do his thing, screw up, and when we least expect it, she'll hit the ground running. This just might be the case. I mean, it's clean, it's efficient, and I don't think she's honestly the type to get stage fright when there's a little competition. And I'm gonna leave you with that. That's all I've got for you guys. Good night. Welcome back to the show. The Copycat has posted their next clue, or finger painting, depends on your perspective. So we've got a special guest on today, none other than Adam Chen, the next potential victim of the Copycat. Adam, welcome back, man. Are you safe? Where are you right now?
Hey, bro. Hey. Yeah, I'm good. I'm in protective custody right now.
I'm very glad to hear that you're safe. I just need to ask, are you supposed to be having contact with the outside right now?
I told him you're my lawyer.
Okay, I'll roll with it.
Cool. Sounds good.
Great. So I gotta ask, first of all, how's your social media doing these days since the I don't know what you call it, the targeting?
Well, it's been trending worldwide, bitch. I'm number one. And you know what? It's thanks to that f***ing garden sausage of a copycat who thought, oh my god, I'm gonna target AC. AC this, AC my nut, bitch. All right? Guess what? Your plan backfired, and I'm trending worldwide. So eat a bag of shit.
Alrighty then. Why do you think he targeted you though? What do you think put you on his radar?
He knows. He definitely knows that I want to make IK number one worldwide. IK worldwide. It's still on the table, bro. It's still on the f***ing table. And he's just pissed because he can't get a f***ing deal to save his life. You know, he's a copycat. No one likes copycats. Like, you got the Transformers. Then you had that, what's that garbage brand of Transformer wannabes?
GoBots.
GoBots, yeah. I'm looking for Optimus Prime. He can go bot himself all he wants because I want the real deal. I don't want some no-name brand piece of shit to represent. I got IK on my sites. Bro, like I said, it's still on the table. We can make it work. I got cred. I got the likes. I'm out there. I'm trending. IK, you're trending. We can both be trending together. Make this work out. It's going to be IK worldwide. It's been my plan since day one.
Okay, Adam, I have to ask you again, why are you still trying to represent IK? Why?
I have it all figured out. We can totally get that guy, what's his name, Jet. We can totally get Jet because he wants to get killed by IK and wants to put him out of his misery. So what we can do is, we can use Jet as bait. It'd be perfect because we know that the copycat wants a piece, but we all know that IK, hey, you know what? This guy wants to totally get killed by me, and I'm a bro like that. I'll definitely put him out of his misery. So therefore, when Jet shows up, copycat shows up, IK shows up, knocks out Jet, puts Jet out of his misery, and then just the shit out of that garden sausage of a GoBot, and then bros, that's how we're gonna meet. We're gonna sign, and we're gonna take it worldwide. IK worldwide, baby.
All right, Adam. Your plan is to get a possibly mentally unstable person to pose as bait for a copycat killer to show up and murder them in order to draw out the actual serial killer to show up and kill the copycat in order to allow you to meet that serial killer face to face and launch a worldwide brand.
No risk, no reward, bud.
Usually when people get under the threat of death or, like their life is flashing before their eyes, usually it kind of stems the flow of bullshit. But like, wow, it just kind of turned the faucet on for you, didn't it?
Well, think about it. I have an army protecting my ass.
You've got a couple cops protecting your ass, buddy. That's not an army.
A division. I got a division. All right?
You've been targeted by a serial killer, someone who is copycatting IK. If this is putting you in the crosshairs, why are you so intent on staying there?
Pussies never make history, bro. And I'm going to make history. It's going to happen, and it's going to be so awesome.
I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but I do understand the logic with that. I'm thinking you're a little too far off the deep end to really make that work. You're talking about somebody who's literally hatchet jobbed almost a dozen people at this point.
But he's a bro, man. And that bro knows I want to help him. Take it worldwide. That's the plan. That's the end game. He's not going to get rid of his manager, soon to be, because you know what? Like I said, pussies never make history, and IK's no pussy. I'm no pussy. You know who's a pussy? The f***ing garden sausage. He's a pussy, trying to be somebody he's not.
Adam!
What?
You've been in there for 20 minutes.
I'm taking a shit. Last night's pad thai didn't go so well, okay? I'm talking to my lawyer, by the way. So, do you mind? Privacy, maybe? Jeez. Sorry.
All right, Adam, we're going to wrap this up. Do you have anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Yeah, I do. Hey, Isaac Kirk, you, you wank stain, all right? I hope you eat a bag of shit, because you know what? You are shit. So go bot the out of here. I got to get going. It was nice talking to you, buddy, but my pad thai's here, all right? I'll talk to you later. Hope you didn't take the fortune cookie this time.
All right, everyone, we've been talking with Adam Chen. Adam is now safely in protective custody, and Adam, we really hope you stay that way. And thank you for all those great nicknames for the copycat. I'm honestly on the fence between the GoBot or the garden sausage. So, everyone listening, leave something in the comments and let's take a vote. All right, that's it, guys. Good night. Do you deserve to live? Does every human being have an undeniable right to life? Could something disqualify you from that right? If you had asked me that just a few days ago, I would have been hard-pressed to find an answer, but after the events of today, I'm not so sure I'd find it so difficult. Late last night, Danny Barr was found in his home, unconscious, badly burned, and suffering multiple gunshot wounds. And at 8 a.m. this morning, Danny Barr, from cooking with my cat, died in hospital. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. The clue last week was a picture of a piece of skin sporting a brand featuring the initials AC. The brand, the initials, it was so clear, and I've been asking myself, how could I have not seen it? How was I so far off base that Danny Barr, is now on a goddamn slab in the morgue? So where did I go wrong? Then it hit me. I didn't. No, the copycat was trying so hard to mislead me that he became completely and insanely obtuse. There was no possible way anyone could have possibly figured it out. You see, the only thing I can figure out from the clue that even remotely makes sense, and I use that term real lightly, is that he took the cat from cattle and then tried to make some completely half-assed allusion to cooking because it was a cattle brand. Thing is, when Danny last called in, I told him if I had an inkling, I'd let him know. And this hack of a killer made sure he was never even given a chance. Now, it's not going to be pretty or easy, but I'm going to get into what happened to Danny because I think it's important we all know what type of a man he really turned out to be in the end. Now, out of respect for Danny, I urge you all to keep listening, but I will understand if you don't. According to the report from the scene, handcuffs and a rope as well as a gag were found in Danny's home, and at this point, it's believed that he was held hostage for about a week, meaning he was already pretty much done for when this second-rate hatchet man sent the clue out. So what happened in that house for a week? Well, we'll never know for sure, but judging by the multiple burns found in his body, we do know that the copycat used the cattle brand to torture him, and at some point yesterday, the killer began to kill Danny, or at least try to, by using a magic bullet. Now, I'm not sure what his plan was or why he assumed a countertop blender was going to make it through bone, but he tried anyways. Danny had a few of his toes and fingers ground up in the bullet, which the copycat then tried to feed to his cat, Furball. However, Furball, sensing the general stupidity of the plan and the idiot carrying it out, decided he wasn't hungry. Then our idiot killer got frustrated and shot Furball. Well, Danny was not going to have any of that, and this is all speculation based on the reports, but somehow he managed to hulk out and charge the killer. That's right, the meek and mild-mannered Danny Barr, who had been tortured for a week, still had enough strength to try and avenge his beloved pet. So what does the idiot killer do? He panics and shoots Danny 5 times. Now, being the idiot killer that he is, and you'll hear me saying that a lot going forward, the copycat did not bring a silencer or any means of suppressing his firearm so that when he shot Furball, he instantly alerted the neighbors, who immediately called 911. Seeing his time was limited, the killer then tried to start digging the bullets out of Danny so they couldn't be used as evidence, and he managed to get 4 of them. But upon hearing the approaching sirens, he gave up and booked it, and wouldn't you know it, the asshole missed one. That's right, you sick son of a bitch. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, you done fucked up. That's right, buddy. If you're listening right now, the copper jacket you left in Danny's hip is being processed. It's going through the rounds of forensics, which for you, my friend, was mistake number 1, which surely enough brings us to mistake number 2. After shooting Danny and his cat and retrieving 4 of the 5 bullets, our copycat boy Wonder leapt out of the back of the house and began climbing fences and making his getaway through backyards, where he stumbled on a chain link fence, ripping his pants and cutting his leg, leaving a nice big fat sample of blood at the scene, which, like that bullet you forgot, is now being processed down at Division 51. Moving along to mistake number 3, as neighbors and witnesses reported seeing a man flee the house and stumble over the fence, they also noted he cried out in pain when he cut his leg and that he had a distinctively high timbre to his voice. And finally, mistake number 4 is that you didn't check for cameras. Dude, if there was any doubt that you weren't the copycat before, it's gone. I know it's amateur hour, but if you can't hack it, buddy, don't get on the stage. Yes, you left behind actual video evidence of you both walking up to the house and that embarrassing run out of the back. Did you really think Danny wasn't going to have anything? Did you really think that he wasn't worried about anything happening to him? No, my friend. You, in addition to all that other crap I just mentioned, left behind an actual picture of yourself. So, ladies and gents, we are looking for a 5'10", medium-built male, short hair, clean-shaven, and possibly of Hispanic descent. I mean, seriously, what a tool. Good news, this is the copycat. Bad news, IK is still out there, but now the race is on. So who's going to get him first? Sergeant Barteski or a wrathful IK? A killer with means, motive, and more than enough ability to get rid of this clown, or the combined force of the police department? If I were you, man, if you're out there listening, I'd seriously consider giving up. IK's taken down bigger game than you consistently and with way less effort than you managed to screw up murdering a cook and his cat. And by the way, Furball is expected to survive. That's right, the little guy took a round in the leg, but apart from losing one of his 9 lives, he's gonna be just fine. Whereas you, the unoriginal bastard on the run right now, is not. So finally, let me ask you the question of the day, Mr. Copycat. Do you deserve to live? Well, I'll turn to the still breathing street philosopher Adam Chen, whose words express my sentiments on the matter perfectly.
You need to kill this motherfucker. He's a creep guy. That's a follower you can lose. You need to KILL his. You need to kill him.
That's all I've got for you guys. And if you're listening, IK, good hunting. Hey everyone, all you happy listeners out there. For those of you hoping to call in today, I'm going to be a wet blanket and just say tough shit. As you know, Danny Barr is no longer with us, and on that note, I don't really feel like talking to anyone at the moment. So I'm going to leave you with this older caller Monday. Recorded this one a while back in case I had a sick day or I was hungover. Check on that second one, by the way. So here is your caller Monday, and I'm going to go back to my drink. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're going to pick up right where we left off last week, and that is the murder of Sarah Tales. So, is this IK's handiwork? Has she finally lost the rest of her marbles, or is someone co-opting the brand? Which, of all the people in the world to try and rip off, a serial killer is probably not a good one to start with. So, we've got someone waiting, and you're on. Who do we got?
Hi, I'm Izzy. I'm a big fan. Nice to meet you.
All right, thank you, Izzy. Can I get your last name for the show?
I've been watching you listening to you rather for quite a while now. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I just want to say it's so refreshing to have someone on who's actually listened to the show, because you're absolutely right. You shouldn't give out those details. Okay, so great, fantastic. You're not an idiot. What can you tell me about yourself and any non-specific details that you're willing to share?
Well, like I said, I'm a big fan. I have a big interest in criminology in general, but your podcast, you have some great theories, a lot of interesting facts. I myself am really interested in like criminal forensics and profiling, all that jazz. So yeah, I thought I'd call in and maybe we could spitball some ideas back and forth.
So great. In that case, let's just launch right into it. Is this IK losing her marbles, or do we have 2 killers?
2 killers, for sure. A copycat.
100% a copycat, no doubt.
Yep.
Great. Well, I absolutely agree with you, but I'd love to know how you ended up there with whatever argument you have.
Oh, just looking at the facts of the previous killings and murders, it just makes sense for it to be a copycat. This last killing lacks the precision and TLC in a sort of ironic sense that IK is given to her previous murders. It's just sloppy in comparison.
Yeah, that is a good word for it, sloppy. It's just, like, you saw the last clue, right?
Yeah, what was that?
Oh, God, it was just awful.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, so then moving right along, I've suspected that there was 2 killers kind of from the get-go. As soon as that clue and that murder happened, it's pretty obvious, as I'm sure you agree. But the thing that was really bugging me is, are they working together? Because when that clue came out, that garbage just piece of shit.
Trash?
Yeah, the trash. When that piece of trash came out, IK was silent, or we think she was. There was no other clue went out. No one else got murdered in the method that did use the TLC, as you said.
I guess anything's a possibility at this point, right? But I do have a theory. It's a little out there, but if you want to hear it.
Absolutely, let's go.
Let's say that IK had some sort of cult situation happening, and this last kill was a pledge or audition to sort of pass the baton of this IK quote-unquote legacy that she's trying to build.
Okay, so is there a clubhouse?
Oh, that I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it wasn't a serious question.
That I couldn't tell you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let's just talk about him for a minute. If the copycat came to IK looking to be a pledge, like you said, what do you think happens to him now that he's screwed up?
You don't get second chances with IK. Are you kidding me?
Fair enough. You said earlier, you mentioned that you have an interest in criminology and profiling and all the fun stuff. Those are my interests too. What's your best guess? Who do you think it could be? Don't have to give me a specific name, but if you have one, fantastic.
Honestly, I think it's Isaac Kurt.
Really? Oh, he is going to have something to say about that, and I do not look forward to hearing it.
Unlike you, Ben, I cannot wait.
At least one of us is going to get some enjoyment out of that future conversation. So Izzy, we're just going to wrap this up now. Any final remarks before we let you go?
Actually, Ben, if you don't mind, I have a question for you.
Okay, yeah. All right, what do you got?
You were hacked a while back by IK, or at least we think it was IK. Why do you think she takes so much interest in you?
Not entirely sure. I'm honestly hoping that she's interested in the show and follows the show, because I know that sounds weird to say, but it's kind of flattering in a way if she was.
Oh, I would take it as a compliment.
Right. Okay. So I think that's all the time we have. Izzy, it was very nice chatting with you.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. So everyone, we've been chatting with Izzy, who was wise enough not to give out her last name. And Izzy, if you'd ever like to come back, that was a terrific conversation. So that's it, guys. Good night. How do you spot a fake? Well, ladies and gents, the copycat killer has been caught, and the next few weeks will most definitely shed light on the answer to this question. But first, let me revel in the knowledge that he is caught, captured, incarcerated, and no longer menacing the streets in lackluster fashion. Oh, yes, that feels good, doesn't it? Anyways, the suspect, although I think it's safe to say the culprit, trial pending, of course, but I've seen a few slam dunk cases in my time, hell, more than a few, and this one is basically gift wrapped. So apart from Barteski and crew burning down their division and the night is still young, we will soon be seeing said deplorable bastard thrown in a tin can for the next 25 plus to life. So while the true IK is still out there and her victims are still yet to receive any true justice, friends and family of Sarah Tales and Danny Barr can maybe rest a little easier knowing that the copycat is behind bars. On that note, Furball, Danny's cat, is still expected to make a full recovery. He's resting up at the Humane Society as we speak, and there's already a list of people wanting to take him home. So Danny, rest easy, he's gonna be just fine. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. The copycat killer is at this point believed to be Ramon Ludo, aka Isaac Kurt. Yes, that's right, and I'm sure it's not coming as a surprise to many of you out there, but yes, the very same Isaac Kurt, or Ramon, as I should say, who's called into the show. He was arrested at his home because where else do you go if you're an idiot on the run from authorities than to the same address listed on your driver's license? Suffice it to say, the police put in their due diligence, and after having a few tips called in from anonymous sources, Mr. Ludo's apartment was located, the door kicked in, and there was Mr. Ludo, in the process of sealing the open cut in his leg with a hot glue gun. Wouldn't have been my first choice, but at least he had the common sense not to go to a hospital, and at the end of the day, I guess there's worse choices than a glue gun to put the gaping hole in your leg back together. Now, usually at this point, I'd be diving into a case file or report or one of the many other sources I managed to get my hands on, but this time it's not necessary. The police are flaunting every chunk of evidence they can get at the press. News bulletins, memos, the pure mountain of evidence against Mr. Ludo is going out broadband to the masses. Now, usually when taking down a suspect, cops rush in, bag him, and they're out of there quick as can be. But this morning when Ramon Ludo was frog-marched out of his home, it was into a sea of reporters and smartphones, almost as if someone had wanted the arrest televised. Now, I'm not pointing fingers, but there's only one guess as to who would benefit the most from such a massive media orgy, and Barteski, I'm looking at you. From this point on, it's the usual rat race. He was arrested and is currently being held pending trial at Division 51. Good job, boys. Took you long enough, but a win's a win. So now that this manic, art-loving, tenor-range douchebag is off the streets, and I'm glad about that, don't get me wrong, we have another problem. And what problem is that? Well, there is definitely something amiss about how the cops are handling Ramon's arrest. You see, my only problem with how the police have handled their investigation so far, well, there's several problems actually, but the most recent is that they're walking around heads held high announcing to the world that IK, the image killer, has been apprehended. Well, you should not be counting your dismembered corpses before they're buried, Barteski, because while you did take a killer off the streets, you did not take the killer off the streets. And Barteski, if you're listening, this isn't me trying to rake in those last few likes and views before I either close down the channel or move on to the next tragedy. You have not caught the image killer. And I would like to think that out of everyone down there at Division 51, my voice isn't just rolling eyeballs, and at least one or two of you can see Ramon for what he is, and more importantly, what he is not. So by all means, nail him to the wall for Sarah Tales and add some screws in for Danny, but don't think for a minute that you've got the image killer. Before any amount of legal justice can be handed down, the prosecutors and police now face the daunting, nigh impossible task of finding an impartial jury, especially if they're looking to try and prosecute him for the rest of IK's murders. An interesting problem from a legal standpoint, considering in this day and age, what with email, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Reddit, and of course YouTube, who hasn't heard of the image killer? So how do you find someone who's so far removed from it all that they don't have an opinion or bias on this topic? Because remember, it isn't just a bias towards IK, it's towards any of the victims as well. You can't have a jury filled with fans of the recently deceased, and while that's normally not much of a problem, you have the combined fan base of nearly a dozen very prominent online stars. Danny Barr alone, may he rest in peace, Danny Barr subscribers alone account for 1 million people, and at least 50% of that is domestic. Throw in the other victims and their followers and you have a problem. And hell, that doesn't even include the IK supporters, a demographic which has skyrocketed since the copycat got started, calling for IK to return to the good old justice she was doling out before. Some people have even started providing potential victims for her, as we saw a few weeks ago with Jet Patel offering himself up to be picked off. So how do you weed them out? Regardless, I will be watching the coming trial with great interest, but to all my fellow cynics and subscribers alike, keep in mind that the image killer is still quite at large, and with this scene-stealing hack out of the way, I don't think it'll be very long before we see her make a very loud and very public return. Till then, the circus continues, and that's all I've got for you guys. Good night! All right, everybody, Monday is here again. My God, that came quickly. Let's get into it. IK is in jail, or is she, or he? Interesting question in this day and age, but I don't think I was that far off. So let's go to a line, and who do we have?
Hi, Ben.
Hi, and welcome to the show. What's your name?
I'm surprised you don't recognize my voice. I've called before. It's Nina G.
Bing! Nina, Bing, yes, I do remember. How are those parental locks coming along?
You're so funny. Anyway, I just wanted to call to let you know how happy I am because the IK killer has been caught, and I bought a bottle of rosé, and I'm gonna celebrate because the IK killer has been caught, and you're no longer gonna have a show. How do you feel about that, Ben Robinson?
Well, if the killer had actually been caught, I might be concerned, but no, that's not him.
It is Isaac Kurt. Isaac Kurt. You know what my mother always told me? Never trust a guy with 2 first names. And there you have it, Isaac Kurt. It's actually been scientifically proven.
You're aware that Isaac Kurt is a pseudonym, right?
What?
That his real name is actually Ramon Ludo, and that he, in fact, does not have 2 first names.
Oh, I've already taken out the rosé.
Did you pop the cork?
Yes, I have.
Well, wine goes bad in 90 minutes, so I'd get on that.
You know, I don't know why your initials are BR. It should be BS, because that's all you spew, just BS all over the internet. I'm so tired of hearing your voice, Ben Robinson.
You don't need to listen to me.
I do need to listen to you, Ben Robinson, because I need to know what's going on, what kind of lies you're spreading, and what my child might come across on the internet.
You're right, Nina. You absolutely should keep tabs, and in order to do that effectively, you should really click that subscribe button down in the bottom right.
Oh, you disgust me.
I just want to make sure you're informed. I just want to make sure you're an informed mother. Are you a bad parent?
Of course I'm not a bad parent. I'm probably one of the best parents in the world.
How else are you going to know?
I'm not subscribing to garbage. Why would I subscribe to garbage?
Well, I just want to go back to why you think I'm just spewing out BS. You are aware that I've called who the victim is going to be a couple times now, and I've gotten it pretty narrowed down.
I actually find it narrow-minded. You're a bit narrow-minded. You're just like trying to spin it into being a woman. And I think it's because you're, as I told you before, I think you're a misogynist. And I think the IK killer is...
No, wait. Say it again.
I think the IK killer...
Okay, stop. It's not IK killer. It is image killer, or IK. One of the two. Not image killer. It is just image killer.
When I search IK into Bing, it auto-completes and it comes up as IK killer. And I think Bing is kind of probably more accurate than you, who probably got his journalism degree from Trump University.
No, wrong. You can type in tuna fish into Bing, and it's not going to make it correct.
So Bing says IK killer, and so I'm calling it IK killer. And pretty soon, I don't have to hear your stupid voice again.
Well, first of all, I'm go out on a limb here and say I'm not wrong.
I don't understand why you still think it's a woman. It's just so unlikely for a woman to be committing these crimes.
Who is the sexist now?
You know what? I am not sexist. I want us all to be equal.
Okay, so why can't IK be a woman?
Because it's just scientifically, if you bing it, scientifically, women just don't commit these kinds of murders. It's very rare for a woman to be a serial killer.
Historically, yes, but now we're dealing with something completely new now. We have the rise of social media, you have the rise of narcissism, of vanity, to an unprecedented degree. We're dealing with an entirely new generation of psychos here. Who was the last major serial killer that you heard of?
How would I know? It's bad enough I know one name, and that's all because of you, Ben Robinson. I wouldn't even know any of them if it wasn't for you.
Well, you're welcome for keeping you informed. But here's the thing. There are vastly more male serial killers than female. Sure, I will give that to you. But female serial killers do exist. And actually, I would argue that some of their crimes are even more horrific than what the men get up to.
It's usually in self-defense. Gotta say, it's usually in self-defense.
Drowning kids in your bathtub is not self-defense.
It can be. Do you know how hard it is to deal with children?
All right, I am not touching that one. We're going to wrap that up. Anything else you'd like to say before you go?
Well, I guess I'm just gonna go drown my sorrows with my rosé because you are still gonna be on the air.
All right, so long as it's just your sorrows, Nina, and not your infant child. All right, that's it, guys. Good night. Are you codependent? Do you find yourself inexorably attached at the hip of your girlfriend, boyfriend, and or gender non-specific significant other? Are you the type of person to exclaim, "I love you" by accident in the first few minutes of post-coital bliss? Well, I don't know about you, my dear listeners, but I have a feeling that while Mr. Ramon Ludo doesn't fit the bill of being IK, he definitely seems to fit this one. Welcome back, everyone. We've had a week of interviews and exposés and special editions. As usual, the mainstream media has taken a story, slapped a great big headline on it, and is now going to run it into the ground with as many reiterations and new developments as they can possibly whip up on the think tank whiteboard. The trial of Ramon Ludo was being steamrolled through the courts with a level of efficiency that was truly breathtaking to watch. Rumor even has it that Mr. Ludo has already been approached with an offer to buy the rights to his story. Talk about striking while the iron's hot. I wonder what is an appropriate amount of time after a serial killer has been caught to make a movie about it? 2 years? 3? I'm getting off topic. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. Ramon Ludo has pled guilty to all of the murders. All of them. Each and every single one of them. Everything that was put in front of him was signed with a flourish and a flick of the wrist as he put himself down as the guilty party to the murder of no less than 11 people. One thing we all know is how this guy likes to preach in front of the microphone. But in short, he says that after Sarah Tales, he didn't see the point of putting in so much effort into the murders, or exhibits as he likes to call them, and decided he was just going to follow his whims with regard to the method and victim. However, in the entire recorded confession, and I have listened to the entire thing, believe me, you are welcome for that. It is the most bloated, long-winded diatribe I've ever encountered since, I'm going to say Battlefield Earth. If you haven't seen it, keep it that way. If you have seen it, in my defense, I can't actually think of anything. Moving on. I can't actually think of anything in my defense.
Keep it that way. I want to start off by thanking each and every one of you for believing in me. It means so much to me to have your love, your support, and your friendship. I want you all to know it has not gone unnoticed. And to the new faces, welcome to the game. And to the old, I want to be perfectly clear with all of you, and I feel you all deserve it, that I had nothing to do with the death of Danny Barr or Sarah Tales, and I'm ashamed that someone acting in my name took their lives. They, and they alone, were a waste. I know that death is a terrifying concept to many of you, but you all must know that it also takes a frightening level of commitment to be able to have the courage to kill someone. But in some cases, it must be done. The people I've killed were not people. They were husks, liars, cheats, animals. They were all hidden behind their screens, shielding themselves in plain sight, benefiting from your attention, eating it up and thriving on it like a parasite that only exists to spread digital poison to its host. I've been alone for so long. My work requires it. But now, I realize that I need to connect with you. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to carry on my work. No, I'm only going to ask you to continue what you've already been doing mindlessly every day. But now, with a new purpose. Share my work with your loved ones, friends, colleagues, but share it only if you know in your heart of hearts that I am right and just in my actions. Follow me or don't, the choice is up to you now. But I look forward to creating something new with all of you. Love, IK.
Thing is, Ramon Ludo seems to be hell-bent on taking the fall for IK. Now, is it because he loves her? Or maybe it's just that he's found meaning in his otherwise empty life through following and imitating her work. But yet again, I'm asking you all, how long can this charade go on for? Because there's no feasible way for Ludo to have killed all those people. Come on, guys, wake up. IK is not going to stay silent for long. She has to follow this up with something to let the people know she's still there. The question is what? That's all I've got for you guys. Good night. All right, welcome back to another Caller Monday. Today we have a special guest, not the usual chat roulette bullshit we usually get up in here. Today we are joined by Dr. Norman Cartier, a clinical psychologist currently studying groupthink at the University of Boston. And that is all my notes say. So, Dr. Cartier, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Benjamin.
Usually I ask people what information they're comfortable giving out, but you've obviously given out your full name. We know where you're working, what you're working on. Why is it that you feel comfortable coming out and talking about IK now, considering all that's been happening?
Because my research has reached a point that I feel it's absolutely imperative that I share it with the world. I don't know if it will stop the killings, but it will perhaps give your listeners more of an understanding of what's behind IK's head.
Okay, great. Well, I understand that you're studying groupthink at the University of Boston with a particular focus on cult of personality. So my first question for you is, how do you think cults of personality have evolved in our current age of social media?
There have been cults of personality for centuries. However, there's an access now which was not available before. We had just people listening to politicians. Then with the advent of media, television and radio, people were interested, but there was not as much of a give and take. Now with social media, there is give and take. There's likes, there's comments, there's feelings, there's tweets. We can be more part of the situation. It's more interactive.
There's the old argument that we've been conditioned into violence and seeing horrible things because we watch it on the news every night. And then something like IK comes along and it just explodes. It goes everywhere. Why do you think she's doing so well on social media?
It's interesting, Ben, that you use phrases like explodes and cuts through, which are, of course, very violent and abhorrent visuals.
Yeah, but why do you think people are following? Why aren't people just turning up their nose and saying, "Oh no, this is crazy. I don't want anything to do with this." I'm following. I'm assuming you've been following her work to some extent. So why is that?
I feel there's somewhat of a bloodlust, shall we say, about people are interested in viewing more and more and more, and they can't get enough. And that's akin to putting a little heart or a comment or a like, shall we say, on something. They're not liking it, but they aren't disliking it at the same time. They're just consuming it.
Okay, that's some great points there, but she's really found a way to bridge the haters and the fans and get everyone on board and following her. Why do you think that is? Do you think it goes back to, like, we have this curiosity of the macabre, but we have to look. We can't not.
That's what my research has shown, and it basically gets back to the most basic of human instincts. I mean, we can't look away, as we had said, but you have a feeling you must know more. I mean, even if you feel, oh, I don't like this, you want to know more. It's like a drug. It's an online drug, shall we say. People are hooked. They want to know more about IK. They need to keep watching so they know what happens next.
Some really interesting points you brought up, but what do you think can be done about IK? Is there anything that we can do in the general public to stop her, stem the flow of bloodshed, basically? Or is this just a runaway train at this point?
I feel there's nothing that one can do at this point. We have to let it run its course. I mean, watch your respective backs. Know that IK is something that all of us, myself included, yourself included too, Ben, that has, through social media, has created. So IK will do what she will do, and eventually she will stop. As all things, I mean, eventually every book has a final page.
Do you really think she'll stop, or she'll have to be stopped? Because the fan side of IK followers, not the haters, the fan side has kind of exploded. So she's still gaining momentum. Does she have an end game, do you think? Is she going to stop, or is this will she just keep going as long as she can?
Only IK can answer that truthfully herself, but I feel that as long as people continue to be interested in her, she will take that as almost an invitation to keep going.
Yeah, it also goes back into our online culture, which is you must keep producing content. You must keep producing content. Doesn't matter good or bad. It just has to keep going out and keep going out. But why do you think we haven't seen something like IK before? Or is this just the start potentially of a new type of killer, the online killer?
I feel that unfortunately this is the start of something new with the advent of social media. I mean, yes, we've had media for a while, but social media is a fairly recent thing. We've had killers for a while, yes, but something like this is fairly new, and I believe we are in for a whole new evolution of murdering.
So one last question for you. Do you think that IK's cult of personality is going to hit a plateau, or is it just going to continue to grow?
I think it will continue to grow, and essentially people have a need to know. It's the old, was the dress blue? Was the dress green? Was it gold? I mean, it's irrelevant. People want to know, they have to know. Inquiry minds want to know.
All right, good stuff. Well, thank you, Dr. Cartier. That's all the time we have. We're going to leave it there. And good luck in your further research. We'd love to have you back on if you have some time in the future.
Of course, Benjamin, would be wonderful.
All right, have a good night. Thank you all for listening. We've been chatting with Dr. Norman Cartier, sharing his thoughts on the image killer. Now, hopefully we'll get to see some more of his research in the future. And Doctor, if you want to come back and share that, that'd be fantastic. And that is all I've got for you guys. All right, good night. Can the blind lead the blind? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, on one hand, we've got IK, a murderess with more than enough screws loose to make you wonder if she has any business being a leader. And on the other hand, you have a bunch of vanity cranks and wannabes whose own lack of emotional development warrants a paper from Dr. Cartier. Because IK is still out there, confirmed by the delivery of another fresh off the press clue along with a more personal message. See last week's episode for that gem. Meaning, yes, unfortunately, Ramon Ludo is not actually the image killer. I know it'll come as a shock to some of you, but hopefully not most of you. So can the blind lead the blind? Well, apparently they can. After listening to the latest message from IK, also known as our mystery guest, her following has only increased after this disturbing call to action, along with my daily dose of hate mail, which goes nicely into a spam folder, never to be seen again. Because with this dismal failure of the authorities in a ham-fisted attempt to wrap up this nasty chapter of serial killer history with a nice big bow, they let the real killer have a few weeks of unmolested free reign to do exactly as she wished. Normally when something goes wrong, we look to the higher-ups for help. The suits and uniforms from their ivory towers of podiums and microphones, news bulletins, and carefully prepared speeches that are typically written by an unpaid intern. Only now the authorities are sitting up there with egg, among other things, all over their faces, desperately trying to maintain the thought that they are in control of the situation, which brings me right back to the blind leading the blind. But can they do it? I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. A new clue has surfaced on the web. It's there. There's no denying it, as much as some might try. It went up on the usual Instagram page. There's a link to that below if you haven't seen it, but it is out there. So click on that now. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. The clue itself is a $100 bill depicting the late Robert Borden with 2 holes punched through his eyes. His Sunday finest replaced with a wife beater and gold chain combo. Super classy. I believe I saw something like it at an art show once, minus of course the stabbed out eyes, but what does it mean? Let's break it down, shall we? First of all, it's money. So obviously, money is involved. This alone is not enough to narrow it down too much beyond a wealthy online personality, but it's still a good start. Next up, we have the wife beater or sleeveless undershirt, if that's not PC enough for some of you. So what does money, a wife beater, and a gold chain have in common? Well, it's pretty safe to say we're looking at a douchebag, and not a white-collar one at that. We are not looking at an investment fraudster kind of douchebag, although believe me, they're out there, and yes, they do move in herds. Nope, this is a trashy, lowbrow, more money than sense, more Rolexes than good deeds kind of a fellow. Someone who makes Logan and Jake look like Pope John Paul II and Michelle Obama. That's right, a vlogger is my guest for IK's target this week, and a financially well-endowed one at that. How did I get there? Well, it's the punched out eyes that do it. Seeing money through someone else's eyes. It is a bit on the nose, I admit, but our girl's been out of practice for a while, so let's not be too harsh on her first day back. So, recap. Punched out eyes, wife beater, gold chain, and a $100 bill. I believe we are looking at a rich asshole vlogger, someone who flaunts their money with a lack of respect that is downright disgusting. So who could it be? Well, like every other IK kill to date, I think it's safe to say that this one will be domestic. I checked out a few other possible foreign candidates, but it doesn't look like their travel plans are coinciding with the time frame, so they're out. So that narrows down our search quite a bit, but there's one more hint in the clue about who it could be, and brownie points to whoever managed to find it. And that is, who is the man on the $100 bill? Well, Robert Borden was the 8th Prime Minister of Canada. No, it's not related to politics, but with the new criteria of a first and last name, we land on a few more possibilities. First off, Robert Sheffield, aka Beau Fangles. Rich, entitled, and like all good douchebags, has a strong predilection for gold and diamonds. He doesn't rock the wife beater, but he does love his sleeveless hoodies. I could do an entire podcast on why that fashion trend deserves to die a quick and brutal death, but sadly I think that's beyond even IK's abilities. Now, Beau Fangles has a habit of being a braggart, and a seriously bad one at that. See this expensive thing I just bought? It's actually nothing, it's garbage, but you thought it was great, didn't you? Yeah, he's that guy. Next up, we have Rudy Blott. He uses a moniker. Can you guess why? So, Rudy Blott, aka Roman Botak, not huge on the money avenue, at least not as big as the first whale, but still he scrapes out a very decent living as a pickup artist and coach, which keeps him knee-deep in tacky two-tone watches. Feel free to Google that, they are god-awful. Now here we have the initials tying him into the clue, and while he doesn't rock the wife beater per se, he does love his gold chain, especially when pumping out gym selfies, which he does at least twice daily. Now there aren't too many other options, a few Bordens here and there, plenty of Roberts, but no one who really stands out as much as these two fellas. And unlike previous episodes of the show, I will not be handing out a best guess, so Barteski, cool your jets. And that's all I've got, guys. Is IK back to wreak organized murder and mayhem on questionable individuals, or did we just happen to get another more talented copycat? That's not actually a question, it's definitely the first one. All right, that's it, guys. Good night. All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Caller Monday, and as much as Barteski would like you to believe otherwise, IK is back. In reality, she never really left. So the clue is out, and now it's just the waiting game. Who is next? And if you want to know more about that, feel free to check out the last episode. All right, enough of my shameless self-promotion. Let's go to a line, and you're on. Who do we have?
Hi, my name is Dakota O'Neill.
Hello, Dakota O'Neill. Are you on social media?
Yeah, of course.
And how many followers do you have?
I have exactly 541, but sometimes, bots, they leave, come back. So, anywhere in the range of, 536 to, 553.
Are you an IK follower?
Yes, definitely. Hashtag #1 fan. Hashtag not in prison. Hashtag just visiting. That one's for you, Isaac Kurt.
What do you think about the copycat, then, if we're going to go into Isaac Kurt?
I think he is just awful. What he did to IK was just so wrong.
Sorry, to IK, not to Danny Barr or Sarah Tales?
No, to IK. He just butchered her work.
Among other things, yes.
No, she is a creative genius. She's just she's so smart, and I love seeing what she's gonna do next. And he ruined it. He didn't even do her justice.
Elaborate on that. How did he not
he
do her justice?
he was so bad that it was insulting. How could he even do that?
All right. Well, you won't get any argument from me that his work ethic wasn't up to snuff. It was pretty lackluster. His clues, even who he went after, which didn't make a lick of sense. But I'm going to assume that you agree with IK. You agree with what she's doing.
Yeah, no, I support her 100%. What she's doing is she's making the world a better place. She's just making it a better world for everyone living in it. Hashtag #1 fan, remember?
But how is she making the world a better place? She's a serial killer.
Yeah, but they deserve it.
They deserve to die.
Yeah, they deserve to die. What they're doing is awful. So, I understand where she's coming from, I feel I really relate to IK because, these people in this world can be so harsh and cruel. And, IK, I got you, girl. I understand you. If you are listening, I am here for you. We are, two peas in a pod, girl.
All right. Okay, so you agree completely with what she's doing?
Yes, 100, probably 122%. more than 100%.
But you don't think killing people over online comments is going a bit too far?
No, I think that like it's completely justified. Like they are awful, so she's awful to them.
What wouldn't justify being brutally murdered?
You know, like maybe someone who like talks behind your back.
Yeah, so they should just lose a kneecap or something, right?
At least a kick in the balls, like for sure. Yeah.
That's weird. All right. Okay. So why do you think she's gained so much popularity though in recent?
Because she's brilliant.
But you can't just say because she's great. There's got to be something
Well,
more.
it's because people are intrigued. You know what I mean? Like she understands the human psyche. Like she's so smart that like she understands like what people want. Like it's almost like
People
almost
want
like
dead bodies.
Well, yeah. Like don't tell me you've never watched a crime show, right? Exactly. I knew it, right? IK, like she knows what people want, so like she does it, and then people follow because they understand, and because it's for such a good cause that like people respond to that.
Yeah, it's not such a good cause though. Like
Or why does she have so many followers then? See? So like they care. People care, are supporting
no.
her.
Being intrigued and being caring are completely different things.
No. Like see, like
Everyone knows what's happening. Everyone's
and they're
curious
following
about
it,
North Korea.
And they're following it. Listen, they are following. So that means that they are supporting her, because then if they didn't follow her, they wouldn't be supporting her. So see, one for me, Dakota.
People follow Trump. I would argue pretty hard.
He's
They're not
not
all
that
supporters. She's literally put the fear of God into some people that they're going to be next and killed. That's not following out of
it's
love.
pretty straight and simple. Like she's got a clear MO. Like just don't be an asshole. You're not gonna get killed. Like it's so simple. Like I don't understand how people can be scared. I am a great person. So I know, IK, I know you're not coming for me, right, girl? Yeah, see, like I know that she's not, because I am a great person.
But what if somebody thought that IK deserved to die?
Like she's just like, no, IK can, nobody's gonna want to kill IK. Like IK is like, she is like everyone's homegirl, you know? Like everyone just relates to her on a deeper level, and it's because like she's so true to herself, you know? Like everybody just loves her. Oh, I wish everybody loved me like that.
We're gonna wrap that up there.
No, like it's just everyone.
Don't worry. I'll give you a
IK
second.
is a beautiful soul, and what she is doing for the world is what is needed right now in this harsh environment. To quote the Queen herself, in my heart of hearts, I know that she's doing the right thing.
You're paraphrasing a little bit there, but Dakota, we're gonna wrap.
I am #1.
We're gonna wrap this up. Is there anything else you would like to say to the world or IK before you go? Floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to say, IK, I #love you, and I feel #blessed to be part of your journey, because I am your #1 fan. What would IK do?
All right, thanks, Dakota.
Thank you.
Wow, that's it. They put Isaac Kurt in jail. Another one pops right back up. #whack-a-mole. #too soon. Till next time, guys. That's it. Good night. Would you jump off a cliff? What if everyone else did? In literal terms, this question is complete bullshit, but the moral is sound. If those around you were making terrible decisions, would you follow in their stead and forever turn the wheel of regrettable choices, or would you, painful as it may be, deviate from the well-laid path of garbage and strike out on your own? It's not as easy as it sounds. Most of us, in some form or another, do follow our friends off of cliffs, and we do so all the time. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. Ladies and gents, IK is back in business. More accurately, she was never out of business, just on a sabbatical. But nevertheless, the clue last week has been answered, and IK has returned to her roots to apparently drive home the fact that she was never really gone. The victim this time around is Robert Sheffield, Mr. Bowfangle himself, and technically I believe you could argue this one as manslaughter, as opposed to outright murder. No, I'm just kidding. This was outright murder, no ifs, ands, or buts, as Bowfangle was found missing his eyes at the base of a cliff and splattered on a moderately priced pile of rocks. It turns out that sometime in the early morn, Mr. Sheffield went missing from his home. Yes, slight departure from her usual MO, but the fun doesn't stop there. No. After getting Mr. Sheffield to the cliff by whatever means of transportation she used, she proceeded to drill the eyes out of his head, and what I can tell you from the report at this time is that the bore and type of drill is a match for none other than Guru Admos. From here, she then proceeded to strap Bofangle's cell phone to his chest and let him go running in fear over the nearest cliff, all the while live streaming Bofangle's impending doom to his fans online. The question is though, did she push him? It's really hard to tell from the footage, which has since been taken down. No luck there, guys, sorry, but from the looks of things, Sheffield wanders over the cliff all by himself, and there is no small irony in the fact of the rich and wealthy vlogger dying broken and alone, tossed away like so many of the trinkets he featured on his show. So is IK back? What do you think? The police have been silent on this one, surprising really, as they couldn't get enough of the media when they were parading Ramon Ludo in cuffs. I wonder how many heads are rolling down at Division 51 right now. Barteski, if you can still hear me, blink 3 times. Anyone? Guillotines? Ugh, never mind. What we do know is that IK has done her best to dispel the rumors that the copycat was anything more than a fake. The girl takes pride in her work, I'll give her that, but she has gone out of her way to show everyone that she is still alive and well. The use of the live stream for the kill, the same as used for Kelly Lime, victim number 1. The bore and size of the drill bit used to gouge out Sheffield's eyes, the same as the one used to open Guru Admos' head. And the sedative used to make him more pliable, the same as the one found in John Johnson's system. And even the clue itself is back on par with its previous aesthetic. So either we've got one hell of a copycat out there, and I mean a genuine successor to the crown, or IK is back in action. There's some voices out there in the mainstream media that are claiming that it's just another copycat, but their voices are dwindling, and more than a few articles featuring this confused and very ignorant position have been removed in a very daunting show of self-censorship. Whereas the underground media, which I think I am a part of, I missed a few meetings a while back. I didn't sign the Christmas newsletter, so it's hard to say. But the internet is on fire with an IK craze. If you thought it was bad before, you were still right, but now it is significantly worse, as the praise for IK, which was confined to a few quiet comments about someone deserved what they got, or maybe they should have been nicer in life, have been replaced with outright support for our runaway vigilante. We are witnessing, and I believe will continue to witness, the true rise of IK. Her followers aren't just in the dark web anymore. Her legion isn't just some rumor. She has spoken to the masses, partially via this show, which I am not very happy about, but nonetheless the people are responding to her call to action, namely with a new hashtag that has appeared in its wake. Hashtag, what would IK do? Someone's being an asshole to you in the comment section. What would IK do? Someone just cut you off in traffic. What would IK do? Your ex cheated on you with your best friend. What would IK do? But if you're like me and believe that she should be stopped, what do you think IK is gonna do about that? Food for thought. That's all I've got, guys. Good night. All right, welcome back, everyone. The image killer has returned, or has she? Let's get some less important opinions on this and go to a line. So, who do we have?
Sergeant Barteski.
Barteski, welcome back to the show. I am recording this one just so you're fully aware.
Thanks for the information, Ben.
Wouldn't want to catch you with your pants down again or anything like that. So, yeah, what do you want to talk about, man?
Oh, Ben, before we get into anything serious here, I just want to say that leading up to the call, I sat down, I listened to all the previous episodes you've done on the image killer, and taking an objective opinion of it, I've got to say, you are a very talented investigative reporter. You have done some great work, and I'm truly impressed. Thank you for the work you've done.
Well, thank you, Sergeant. I have the feeling I'm getting buttered up for something. And
with that said, you know, you've shown great savvy with this case. I'm sure you've shown it with other cases that you've put forward on your show. But at the same time, we don't always get them right. And I want to step in and talk to you publicly today, and give you a possibility of a chance to issue a retraction. So I know in your last episode, you showcased the unfortunate incident of Mr. Sheffield. And at this point, although it's not public knowledge, I've discussed with my superiors, and we thought this was a great forum to do it. We are bringing it forward to the public attention that we are ruling Mr. Sheffield's death as a suicide. And this is your chance to make a public retraction in your last episode.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page going forward. There hasn't been a miscommunication. You were talking about Mr. Sheffield, who was found at the base of a cliff, correct?
Correct.
He was found sometime this week. Vlogger, decent online following. Same one we're talking about, right?
Same Mr. Sheffield.
Great. Okay. So did he drill his eyes out of his head before or after getting to the edge of the cliff?
I'm sorry?
The holes in his head, which were caused by power drills, which bear the same bore and drill type to Guru Admos, who was the image killer's. I almost said IK killer. Oh my God, Nina's rubbing off on me. He had 2 holes drilled through his eyes that matched the bore, diameter, and type of the same drill used to kill Guru Admos.
See, Ben, this is the point when all that great work you've been doing seems to be weighing on your mind and you're looking for connections that don't really exist. If you threw yourself off of a 60-foot cliff, you may not look so pretty either.
You wouldn't look pretty, I completely agree with you, but it's not like I'm going to land on 2 identical drill bits spaced exactly 6 inches apart when I hit the bottom.
Making it very difficult to identify anything, no less to say there were drill bore marks and accurate measurements that identified other cases. And again, you're looking for connections that don't truly exist. It's time for you to move on.
Are you saying there were no holes drilled in Mr. Shellfield's head and it was just a result of him falling off the cliff and all the distortions of the body which happened thereof?
I'm saying that we're ruling Mr. Shellfield's death as a suicide.
Okay, but, and you're not going to like that I know this, the drill bits going into his head, the two holes drilled there, which just lightly touched on the base of the skull, that's in the coroner's report. That's in your coroner's report. You're your guy.
Ben, I've given you kudos, and I've spoke to your great investigator.
No.
And this is the point when you need to let things go and recognize it's time to move on.
But did he drill his eyes out of his head before jumping?
I say that when an individual as unfortunately messed up as Mr. Shellfield throws himself off a cliff, there will be some interesting things to look at on the bottom.
Your coroner has specifically identified the drill size, bore, and type as matching that of Guru Admos, the image killer's 3rd victim. Let's say in the realm of possibility here, Mr. Shellfield gets to the edge of a cliff, he's had a rough time, tapes a cell phone to his chest, drills his eyes out, and jumps off the cliff and kills himself. Okay, let's say that happened. Where's his car and where's the drill?
Ben, he was missing for 2 days, as you reported, and could have walked anywhere. But at this point, truly, Ben, you need to cease and desist.
So he walked 10 miles from his condo to a cliff.
It's not that difficult to follow. It's
Okay.
not that far.
Doesn't answer the second part of my question though. Where's the drill?
Ben, this is where you need to stop.
Where's the drill? Let's say he was really smart about it. Let's say he got to the edge of the cliff, he tied 65 to 75 helium balloons to the drill, which would be battery powered because that's how you'd have to do it, punched his eyes out and then let it go and it just floated away into the sunset, and then he jumped off the cliff, which he'd still have to find the direction, which, sure, let's say he could do that. Do you really think that's what happened? Honestly?
Ben?
Do you honestly think the clue that went up the week before was just completely unrelated? Do you think he put it up?
On public record, we are ruling Mr. Shellfield's death as a suicide, and we are done here.
All right, okay, I just gotta know, have you contacted any other media outlets with this retraction you're asking for?
We're done here.
Well, that was a big steaming pile of denial, the first stage of any grieving process, including the death of a career. So, Bart Teskey, maybe when the next victim turns up, you'll move on to anger. That at least might be productive. All right, that's it, guys. Good night. How far is too far? Question that has unfortunately slipped into the cracks of the internet in recent years, and one that is in dire need of resurfacing. Since its inception, people have always enjoyed the anonymity the internet has to offer, whether that was downloading a few thousand songs on LimeWire and Napster back in the day, or searching the very fringes of the porn industry. We did it because we could. Because it wasn't us searching those morally depraved things, it was Surfer Bro 69. But pretty soon the limits of what could go online started to stretch, and they continued stretching ever since, but maybe now it'll stop. Because maybe IK is the answer we've actually needed all along. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. A new IK clue is up, and this week we're looking at a Jack-in-the-Box exploding with candy and some kind of red liquid. Gee, wonder what that could be. And that's it. Simple, elegant, and I admit a bit more puzzling than usual, which I actually appreciate strangely enough. Well, not completely puzzling. The general group of potential victims is rather obvious, but the actual individual in the crosshairs is a bit more obscure. The clue this week is pointing pretty firmly at online prankers, those fun-loving folks spreading a bit of joy, fright, or just plain inconvenience into our daily lives and then profiting off the ridiculous faces that we make. But what happens when it stops being funny? When a prank stops being a prank and becomes either insane or just a straight-up shitty thing to do? Well, fear not, the answer has been provided to us in more than one form, which is leading to my current dilemma of who could it be. Now everyone has off days, even Lady Death herself, and I think IK would be good enough to know the difference between the prankers who genuinely try to get a laugh but sometimes miss the mark versus the ones who go looking for trouble or at the very least are looking to hurt and inspire some mayhem. So with that assumption in mind, we will call this subgroup of wankers the shit disturbers. So, who do we have in the running today? Well, based off of the clue, which I admit is not a lot to go on, we have a jack-in-the-box equaling a pranker and an explosion of some kind. Well, just about everyone who made my shit list has used or continues to use some kind of explosion in their work. So let's take a look at this rogues gallery. First up is the Leveler. Terrible name, I know, but seeing how the Equalizer was already taken by Denzel, you gotta work with what you got. Now, the Leveler, whose real name is Terrence Polinsky, is arguably the most explosive fellow on the list. His shtick, and he only has the one, is heading out for dinner and enjoying a fantastic 3-course meal, only to midway slip himself some epicac and projectile vomit all over the place. Now, is this too far? Some might say no. After all, there are a number of stuck-up chefs out there that could certainly do with being taken down a peg. But when you learn that he specifically targets open kitchens, it loses some of its charm. Now, in the past, he went on a pretty good run of restaurants, visiting major cities around the world and giving them hell, but people started getting wise and shared his picture with their colleagues, and now 2 years later on, he's having to go through some pretty elaborate disguises just to keep the channel going. So, what do we think? Is this our guy? Let's continue. Jokestrap Inc. is our next potential on the chopping block, and out of everyone on this list, his is the most dangerous prank I've seen in a while. You see, Jokestrap has a habit of messing with people on their big days, especially sports. Now, he started off by doing some harmless streaking back in the day, but as his views began to drop off, which they inevitably do, he started getting a little more involved at the backstage of these events. Most notably at a strongman competition, where he snuck backstage and rigged the weights to be on the heavier side. Now, normally this wouldn't bear much thought. They're strongmen after all, they can take it, but when you're up there and you're going for a world record and rather than lifting your personal best, you're now trying to lift 25 to 50 pounds over that, you end up with some nasty results. See, lifters fall into 3 categories. First, there are the pukers, no epicac required. We've all seen it, good for a laugh every now and then. Second, there are those guys that lose control the other way and soil themselves. And third, we have the bleeders, the guys who go for broke and give it their all, and for these sad bastards, the results are a little more severe. Blown blood vessels in the eyes, nose, hernias, nearly all requiring a hospital trip. And this is why Jokestrap Inc. makes the list, because you'd think that after doing this once and sending a few folks to the emergency room, he'd stop, but no, he just kept right on chugging, racking up a hit list of professional athletes. Last on the list, and this guy barely, and I mean barely, falls into the pranker category, as his work, if you can call it that, is akin to public mayhem. Honestly, it's a miracle he hasn't been shot by a security guard or a cop yet. His name is Poprox, and he is known for pranks that involve guns and public spaces. Let's just sit on that for a second. You heard me correctly. He's been arrested a couple times, but nothing has stuck to him so far. I mean, this guy is notorious. His biggest video involved him running through a shopping mall carrying a fake AK-47 and some hella powerful backpack speakers which were playing a track of recorded gunfire. Naturally, mayhem ensued. Other times he's been known to throw paintball grenades onto buses, subway trains. Sometimes it's just fine to drop a bag of firecrackers into an oil drum, covering himself up with blood and start running through the street. So who could it be? The Leveler, the explosive pranker with a terrible name, Jokestrap Inc. with his campaign of sports sabotage, or Mr. Poprox and his organized pandemonium? I honestly don't know this time, guys. I'm leaning on Poprox pretty hard, but I still think that Jokestrap is the better bet. Let me know what you think and maybe ask yourself, what would IK do? That's all I've got, guys. Good night. All right, everybody, Monday is here again, so let's go to a line, and who do we have?
You have a collect call from... Hello, Ben.
Yes, I do.
Hi, Ben.
Hello, Isaac.
It's Ramon.
Okay, why the change? I thought you were Isaac Kurt.
I guess you could say since I arrived here, I've, for lack of a better word, found myself and feeling really sad and alone, and I thought I'd call my best friend in the world. You're my first call, Ben, and I've missed your voice.
Ooh, on that note, I kind of want to just wrap this up right here, but we're not going to. What do you want to talk about, Isaac?
About the incident, Ben. I feel really bad about what happened.
For killing 2 innocent people?
For Furball. Furball's dead, and I feel bad. Furball didn't do nothing.
You feel bad about killing the cat?
Furball. Oh, my Furball.
You didn't kill the cat.
Wait, I didn't kill the cat?
No, the cat is alive.
The cat's alive?
Yeah.
Oh, joyous day.
Stay with me here, Isaac.
Please call me Ramon. I'm healing, and I'm heavily medicated.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna do that, Isaac, because I think you've earned
Ramon.
that moniker. Did you know that the papers actually ran with GoBot? Did you know that's what they ran with for you? Adam Chen, with his Let's Take IK Worldwide, he branded you, buddy. He gave you're the GoBot killer.
I'm trying to find forgiveness even for him.
Great. I gotta ask, the clue for Danny, what was that about?
I clearly said over our last conversation that I wanted to kill Adam Chen, and I thought you would put it together, so I decided to kill Danny Barr.
Wait, so it was Adam Chen.
But you would know, and then so
You can't just jump clues like that. You're promoting the IK brand. You're trying to follow IK's legacy, but you just completely bastardized her work. You make a clue, you have to stick to it. That's the point.
it was art. That's why Danny Barr had to die, and I'm glad he's dead. Oh, the medication is wearing off.
What is your fascination with art?
Turns me on.
Wow. Of everything I've heard on the show, that actually makes the most sense to me. But why did you kill Sarah Tales?
I needed to find my own voice, my own style, so I decided to shave her, strangle her, and watch her eyes roll. Oh, it was magnificent, Ben. And then I stuffed her in a locker because I didn't know what to do with the body.
But that still doesn't explain why you chose her. That just makes you sound like a bad killer.
I'm not a bad person, Ben.
I didn't say bad person. I said bad killer. You're the GoBot killer. Remember? You're just a bad killer.
I'm not a bad killer, Ben. 2 people are dead, Ben. You understand that? It's more than what you f***ing done. You're just some shitty-ass radio host.
That doesn't even make you a serial killer, dude. You have to get to 3, and you got to 2.15 with a cat?
The cat's alive, first of all, and I'm f***ing awesome. I f***ing killed...
You're in jail.
I'm f***ing good killer. Get the f*** off me. Get free. Get off me. I'm gonna f***ing kill you, Ben. You understand? You're dead. I got you. You're dead. You understand? Get off me. You're dead.
Holy shit, you are full-on patty cakes nutter butters. All right, till next time, guys, that's it. Good night. Did you find this amusing? That is the question I want you to ask yourself at the end of today's episode. I don't need you to write it down or profess it from the highest tower. Just ask yourself deep down when this is all said and done, did you find this amusing? Is death a funny, comical topic? Not always. In some cases, sure. We've all had that laugh in any number of bad action movies when the villain dies by some outrageous means. Maybe he's catapulted through a swarm of bees into a wood chipper. I don't know, but you get the idea. But does your reaction change when that person is actually real? Do you care more? Less? Does that person have to be someone near and dear to you? Do they have to be in the same city or even the same country for you to give a shit? Because people die in horrendous fashions all day, every day, and most of them, so long as they're not making the 6 o'clock news or your Facebook feed, they're deemed irrelevant. They don't matter to you. So, at the end of this episode, after I've gone over the most recent IK victim, ask yourself in all seriousness, did you find this amusing? I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. Manny Garcia is dead. The creator of the pranking channel Pop Rocks has gone out in a blaze of glory. Now, I seem to recall mentioning a few episodes back that IK was going to do something big and bold to get her name back in the ring, and a few of you gave me shit for it, and here we are, beholding one of the most elaborate and public murders I think I've ever seen or heard about, and that is a pretty long list. So here we go. Manny Garcia, the notorious pranker whose prank of choice involved guns in public spaces, has been murdered in a horrible, painful, and downright spectacular fashion. The clue last week pointing in his direction, and I honestly thought it was going another way, was candy exploding out of a Jack-in-the-Box. But enough about the clue, let's talk about the kill. Garcia was found in the middle of a regional food festival over the weekend. Not that weird, right? But then you take into account that he was dressed as a giant s'more, yes, the delectable chocolatey gooey campfire treat, and carrying a sign which read Billings Marshmallows, toasted to perfection, and the plot doth caramelize a little further. Now, the sign was physically stitched to the costume's hands, and Manny himself, according to the report, is believed to, get this, believed to have been forcibly strapped into the giant flaming s'more suit. I think it's safe to say he wasn't in there by choice. Now, as it turns out, Manny and Billings Marshmallows have a bit of a history. During the heyday of his career back in 2015, Manny went on a binge of pranking the food company's mascot whenever he made a public appearance, several times chasing him down with a variety of fake weapons just to get footage of the fat, lovable logo running for his life. Anyways, in addition to being strapped into the costume, he was gagged, blindfolded, and had a pair of noise-canceling earmuffs taped to his head. Also taped to his head, get this, were 3 to 4 bags of marshmallows, because why not, right? From there, Manny was set alight somewhere near the north entrance and left to run free, which he did for all of about 50 meters before succumbing to the flames, which brings me to the most interesting tidbit of the coroner's report, and that is the cause of death. Smoke inhalation, first-degree burns? You would think, but you would be wrong. No, unfortunately for Manny Garcia, the official cause of death is drowning. But how can that be? How does a burning man drown? Well, when you expose marshmallows to an open flame and you have several bags of them wrapped around your face, they tend to melt. So that's right, folks, he drowned in molten marshmallows. Now, I know IK's good. I'm sure most of you do as well. But at what point do you ask yourself, how much of this was planned and how much of it was luck? Because if I had to guess, I'd say knowing our girl, she slipped Manny a little something before setting him off. Maybe a poison or an overdose of adrenaline, something that this whole escapade wasn't just left purely to chance. That's my guess at least. The burn damage to the body is making the tox report take a little bit longer than usual, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Billings Marshmallows, the brand whose mascot Manny was wearing and whose slogan he was carrying, has released a statement saying that they in no way condone this horrific act of violence and are in no way associated with the image killer. Although, how funny would it be if they were? If IK was an executive at a marshmallow company, I mean, I almost hope so, because if that's the case and they catch her, that story's just going to write itself. Now, IK is going a little off script on this one. This is the first kill she's committed in full public view. Sure, there was Boomer Branson behind the backstop at the gun range, but there was no way to be sure that he wasn't already dead beforehand, and he most certainly wasn't in full public view. Needless to say, when you do anything in a crowd these days, it's hitting social media pretty quick. And when you do it in a crowd of foodies and elite Yelpers, it's safe to say you're about to get some more than decent coverage. Live streams were popping up even as Manny was still stumbling about, before the 911 call even went in. Now, to be fair, most people thought it was a legitimate prank or extremely tasteless ad campaign. But even so, there's something to be said for the fact that the police now have a few hundred minutes of footage to scrub through, and who knows, maybe the murderess herself made an appearance. So, to anyone who was there that day, think back and think hard, because you might have caught a glimpse of the image killer. And that is all I've got, guys. Good night. Welcome back to the show. We got a special treat for you guys today because today we are going to be chatting with an actual functioning adult, Dr. Cartier. Welcome back to the show. Great to have you on.
Thank you for having me on, Ben.
So, Doctor, what brings you back onto the show? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, over the past few months, IK has very much been escalating her murders, and with the information that I gleaned, I've now put together a fairly solid profile of IK.
It's done.
It's done.
The masterpiece is finished. The Mona Lisa has the smile. So, I'm just going to shut up for the next little bit. Doesn't happen too often, but take it away.
Essentially, I feel that IK is a millennial. She's a loner. She's smart. She's creative. She likely comes from the IT world, QA, and I firmly believe that as the kills are becoming more and more creative and bigger, they've reached a tipping point where she's compelled to escalate things.
So what you're saying is that she has to keep escalating. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and more grandiose. And I don't know how you're going to top Flaming Marshmallow Man. Moderately curious to find out. But you think that's it? She's just has to keep going now?
Pretty much, yes.
So we're looking at a creative overachiever, serial killer.
Exactly, yes.
Damn. Oh, that's pretty horrible. So millennial, I'll totally agree with you there. Avenue of social media, how she's been using it, how entrenched it is in her brand, I guess you'd call it. Above average IQ, I think you mentioned.
Very much so, I feel, yes.
With that above average IQ, with that large creative brain, are they a programmer? What do you think?
Very likely something IT related that works with computers, that knows the ins and outs of computers, whether it's coding, hacking. So it becomes so second nature to her that computers are her raison d'etre. She works with computers because she is computers. She is the goddess of social media, for lack of a better word.
The goddess of social media. She's, God. There's a couple people who have called into the show and they are just going to eat that up. So thank you for that. You said she has a creative streak to her.
Yes.
Is this a creative person, or is this someone who just has an appreciation for it?
Well, I think she appreciates her own creativity, yes, but overall, she is a creative person, both creative and very technical at the same time. Like having the capability to use both sides of her brain allows her to dream up ideas and follow them through, and at the same time also has the wherewithal to decreate, shall we say, to make things better for her.
Okay, so she's smart, she's detail-oriented. I really wanted to talk to you about the escalation that she's been going through, because the kills have just been getting just ridiculous. They've always been gruesome, they've always been horrific and ironic and whatever. But lately, especially the last one, what was his name?
The Marshmallow Man?
The Marshmallow Man. I feel so bad saying that, but I just...
That's what one keeps thinking of. It's the Marshmallow Man.
It's the Marshmallow Man. I'm just picturing Ghostbusters, but smaller and bloodier.
As I, yes.
Anyway, okay, so the Marshmallow Man. Apologies to the family of the Marshmallow Man. So that's the most public murder to date. I think that's one of the most public murders I think I've ever seen, of a man literally stuffed into a marshmallow mascot suit and set ablaze into a crowd of people. It's a hard act to follow. That's something that's not going to be easy to top. What are the odds, in your opinion, that she's going to slip up?
Well, she keeps setting the bar so high, and the kills become more and more extravagant, more eye-catching, more newsworthy / social media worthy, that eventually she's going to have to slip up, because there's more opportunity for her to do so.
I'd almost want to say that she would have a compulsion or a neuroses. Well, there's clearly a couple things wrong, but I think that specifically, there might be something like an OCD complex going on.
I feel you're correct. It's not like she chooses to do it. She has no choice but to do that.
In the media, we've always gotten this portrayal that serial killers, psychopaths are always these extremely charming, extremely outgoing people. The reality of that is sometimes different. So do you think she falls into that category of the charmers, even though she's a loner, or do you think she's falling into the extreme introvert kind of category?
She may be charismatic, but I think in the offline world, she's probably quiet and introverted.
So in her daily life, she's probably just a drone. Probably just another corporate nobody sitting in a cubicle, crushing away some cheap, shitty black coffee and going through lines of code. It sounds kind of horrible, but now that she made IK, she's made the image killer, she now has this alter ego, which is basically becoming her life. Question is, which one do you think is now her true self? Is the image killer mask that she's putting on, or is her daily life this, nose to the grindstone, smart but not very outgoing cubicle worker? Is that the real her?
The real her, I believe, is I guess a combination of the two.
All right, so I just want to recap everything you just said regarding your profile that you've put together. So, image killer is a millennial, an above average IQ from an urban background, has some kind of artistic abilities, probably not professional. She's compulsively detail oriented, she's stylish but not original, and she works in IT.
Yes, QA specifically. I believe that she sees the world as a computer with glitches in it, and she's trying to debug humanity.
It's a great little byline for your next article. Well, thank you for your thoughts, Doctor, and it's been great having you on.
It's been great being here. Thank you, Benjamin.
Okay, well, we've been talking with Dr. Cartier and his profile on the image killer, which is going to be a nice little boon to narrow down my list just a little bit further. And it is getting short, people. Shorter than a barefoot Tom Cruise. That's it, guys. Good night. Do you talk too much? Of course you do. We all do from time to time, although with age and wisdom and one or two beatings along the way, we all learn to, on occasion, hold our tongues and to internalize the old adage, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. It's a lesson some of us learn better than others. With the internet came anonymity. Usernames, passwords, VPNs, proxies, monikers, and handles, all manner of tricks and tools to keep our identities hidden. From behind these monikers, we feel a sense of freedom, an ability to say what we feel without fear of reprisal. We can be honest with each other, we can ask the tough questions, discuss the tough answers, and we can also hate and belittle like never before. And we're all guilty of it. Don't think you're not. It comes with the territory. We've all replied to something with how we truly felt, saying things that would never come out if we were ever face to face with that person. And it's not always bad. Sometimes people need a reality check, but when it is bad, when you have people that just go after another person for amusement, you've got yourself a troll. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. The mask of confidence that was so carefully crafted and plastered on by good old Sergeant Bartesky in Division 51's face is starting to slip. His once unshakable confidence in the arrest and incarceration of the image killer is melting like cheap foundation at the beach as IK, the real IK that is, continues to fill up her punch card. Try not to worry too much, Bartesky. I'm sure she'll give you a free one once she hits 20. In the meantime, it's on with the show, which includes the new True to Fashion IK Clue. If you haven't seen it, it's up on @ImageKiller, and it depicts a noose hanging from a bridge with the numbers 313-3 etched into a few of the stones. So let's begin. We have a bridge, and for those of us who grew up on fairy tales and other creepy-ass stories to tell children, the only thing that lives under a bridge is a troll. And if that was all there was to this clue, it would be to date the vaguest she has ever provided, or she's targeting a civil engineer. But let's face it, that's not really happening. The most telling and interesting part of this clue, to me at least, is the noose hanging from said bridge. One of the most common forms of execution back in the day. Fun fact, the last person officially hung in Canada was in 1962. However, I've tried running that date past the 3 numbers etched on the stone and haven't turned anything up, so no direct relation there. So it could be the method of execution that IK is planning on using, and while the irony is a bit lost on me right now, who knows, it could work. But if you look at the symbolism of the noose, you get a little further. There's the obvious reference to lynch killings, but seeing how IK has chosen to model herself as a just killer, I can't see that applying here. But for anyone who hit up Sunday school as a kid, I can see it applying as a reference to Judas Iscariot, more specifically, a traitor. So, traitorous troll. You're thinking to yourself, that doesn't seem to narrow it down very much. There are loads of traitorous trolls out there. Well, actually, yes, there are. IK doesn't deal too much in vagaries. If she included it in the clue, it's there for a reason. So, with this in mind, the criteria for a victim has to be a troll who was once a fan, a supporter, someone who genuinely liked whatever they were following and then at some point just became another asshole. Now the final piece, 313-3. As a date of March 13th, 2003, you get pretty much nothing of importance happening. Now, there is the odd chance that this is meant as a birthday, but seeing as IK hasn't killed any teenagers yet, which may not actually mean anything because, as I'm sure we all know from our various high school experiences, teenagers with any sense of a mental filter are pretty hard to come by. Now, as a launch date for any accounts, channels, or website, the date comes up empty, like the bottom of my 15-year-old Glenlivet, but not like the bottle of my 18-year-old Dalwhinnie, which is lovely, by the way. No, that's not it. So next I tried letters, and this turned up something pretty fun, CMC. Just kidding, that actually turned up very little, unless IK is trying to somehow kill a multinational conglomerate or an award ceremony. Of course, I tried the usual search for initials and people's names, which she's used a few times before, only this time I got Dickall. And finally, upon one last deep dive, I turned up carboxymethylcellulose. Ooh, doesn't that sound impressive? Is it the poison she's been using to kill her victims? The sedative that makes them more manageable? How does she make it? Does it have to be specially ordered? Can you trace the shipments? Well, not goddamn likely, because as it turns out, carboxymethylcellulose is a thickening agent used by bakers in culinary sculptures. Yeah, that's right. It's edible. So to the best of my knowledge, which I'm sorry to say is coming up a bit short this week, we have a traitorous troll. So who knows, maybe she's going after someone a little more obscure, someone on a smaller channel who doesn't quite show up on the radar. If anyone's got some theories out there to the mystery numbers 313-3, feel free to enlighten the rest of us. Till then, that's all I've got, guys. Good night. Welcome back. How are you doing? Don't care. You guys have had IK's profile from Dr. Cartier for a little over a week, and so far, butt kiss. So too bad. I was really holding out hope someone might noodle something out, but no, so screw you all. Let's talk to somebody. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the show. What's your name?
Hi, it's me, Dakota. You know, hashtag #1 IK fan, hashtag your favorite caller.
Hello, Dakota. How many subscribers do you have now?
Oh my gosh, I was like so successful. Thank you guys so much for following me on all of my social media. Hashtag #1 IK fan, right, fans?
Don't mention it. So I take it you've had a little bit of a boost?
Yes, I have. It's been so wonderful to have all the support from everyone out there. They must be feeling the same way that I feel.
Great. And how do you feel? How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I am feeling wonderful. IK is doing some really amazing artistic work. What she did with Manny, the marshmallow suit, it's just brilliant. She is just such an artist.
Marshmallow suit. Hilarious. Yes. Artistic?
Yes.
I don't know. Feels a little SNL to me.
Setting it ablaze is like fighting up against the man, you know?
The Marshmallow Man.
Well, no, like the patriarchy.
So the patriarchy is a Marshmallow Man that needs to be burned down?
I think it's too in-depth for you to understand, Ben.
No. I'm with you. You need giant Marshmallow Man, evil patriarchy. Have you seen Ghostbusters?
No, I've never seen it.
I think it's right up your alley. Anyway, so did you tune into the episode we had with Dr. Cartier?
Oh, Yeah.
Did you have a good listen to that profile that he put up?
It was more of like a skim through listen. Like, I think I got all the important bits though.
Okay, so question for you. Do you think you know IK's identity? Being her #1 fan, being so close to her and understanding her ways in so many little nuanced fashions?
I do think that I relate to her and we're like friend buddies on like an ethereal level, but I'm not sure if I know who she is personally. But I do relate to her like a heart to heart. Like I feel like I'm one with her. But who she is, IK is all of us.
You're saying that IK is...
Within all of us, yes.
So she's V for Vendetta?
Oh, like I've never like seen that before, so I wasn't...
Check that one out too. Good flick. Also have to gotta ask, if you knew IK's identity, would you tell anyone?
No, because I am her #1 fan, so I would keep that secret to myself. IK, I got you, girl.
What about the #2 fan though? Is there a club? Is there like a top 10 ranking system that you could share that information?
Like there is, like we do have like a website, like we do talk a lot, but like I am like the ruler of the group. There are some other girls that claim that they're the #1 fan, but no, it's truly me. And so I think that IK would confide in me if she wanted to talk to someone, yeah.
But she hasn't, has she?
No, I think that, there's too much at risk.
Please don't get offended. I'm not trying to offend you and be rude, but IK's got in touch with me.
No, that's not possible.
She's come on the show a couple times now, uninvited, but
okay, well then that's probably like a ploy. Like maybe one day you are going to be on her list, Ben.
or maybe you're not even on hers.
I hope not. I want to live. What kind of question is that, Ben? Are you an idiot?
What I was trying to get at is maybe you're just not on her radar as #1 fan. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the #1 fan. I mean, I have an entire podcast dedicated to her.
No, you are not the #1 fan, Ben. You are not the #1 fan.
I'm sorry, do you have a podcast?
I feel like you are trying to rip her storyline apart.
And what is her storyline, please? Enlighten
And you're
me.
just trying to rip it right apart. You're trying to expose her. You're trying to, meddle in her business.
You see, I'm also kind of telling her story.
No, you're ripping it apart. You're trying to expose her, trying to get her caught so that she cannot continue to do her good work. Hashtag what would IK do?
What would IK do apparently is listen to the show.
Maybe she's doing it, like I said, to target you, Ben.
But I'm still here.
Maybe you're the grand finale.
We record all this. You know that, right?
I haven't done anything, so you have nothing on me.
I feel like we're getting into kind of a dark corner. All right, so Dakota, we have to wrap this up again. It just never feels like enough time. Is there anything you'd like to say before you go?
Oh yeah, to all those fans out there, please remember to follow me at Dakota O'Neill. Hashtag IK #1 fan. Hashtag I'm your girl. Hashtag we all love IK. Hashtag what would IK do? XOXO Dakota O'Neill.
Well, Dakota, that was vaguely threatening, and Barteski, you might want to check out that message board she's running. Feels like a prep school for future psychos. That's it, guys. Good night. Should you quit while you're ahead? That is the question of the day, and in all seriousness, I think it's something a few of you should consider, especially those who've been more than a little critical of the image killer as of late, especially on this channel. Now, I for one thought IK was above all that she could deal with some negative feedback every now and then. Hell, I know I have, and you can go ahead and Bing that if you're not familiar, but it seems that someone out there managed to hit one of IK's nerves with pinpoint accuracy. Some of you have been here for a while. Luna, Plum, Troniak, Ozimba, just to name a few. I appreciate that. I really, really do. But going forward, I'm going to suggest an air of caution in what you're posting, at least in the comments on the episodes, because it is now confirmed, not suspected, confirmed that IK is falling a little bit closer than we originally thought, which is both flattering and terrifying, but mostly terrifying considering this week's victim was a longtime subscriber of this channel. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. Our clue last week was the bridge with the noose and the numbers 313-3, and at the time, I couldn't think of anything that those numbers could be related to, which turned out to be a little bit closer to home than I would have liked. In case you're wondering, I now believe that 313-3 refers not to carboxymethylcellulose, but to CM3, specifically Caller Monday number 3. The first episode which Madman Mikey 007 commented on, and yes, unfortunately, he is the victim this week, which is why I'm warning the rest of you to mind your P's and Q's. Madman Mikey 007, aka Michael Rudorf, age 24, not much of an online presence. He popped up here and there on some chat rooms. He had a little over 200 Facebook friends, which are rookie numbers by anyone's standards. He was single and his pride and joy was his car, a 2003 Hyundai Elantra. Not exactly IK material, is he? Now, some of you may remember him for his childish comments here and there, that wicked profile pic, and most of you paid him no mind, but it turns out IK was paying him a lot of mind indeed. He was found in the early morning hanging from an overpass with 24 or so hypodermic needles in his back containing a variety of household cleaners. The coroners are still trying to figure out which of the chemicals actually did the damage to kill Madman Mikey, but I'm personally leaning pretty hard on drain cleaner as the culprit. However, the initial autopsy has been slowed down to a crawl based not on what was found sticking out from Madman Mikey, but what more curiously was found inside Madman Mikey. Now, normally when an autopsy begins, it's pretty routine. Cut here, saw there, weigh this, but in this case, when the body of Madman Mikey was wheeled into the coroner's lab, they found that they didn't have to cut here and saw there because IK had already taken care of that for them and proceeded to stuff the corpse with about 10 to 12 kilos of garbage and compost. All of which now has to be processed and cataloged and tested for fingerprints, adding yet another massive time sink for Division 51 to dive into. Seriously, the overtime the lab techs are racking up must be ridiculous. Now, once again, the body this week wasn't hidden away in some back room or private condo, kept out of sight until IK was ready to unveil her latest installation. Nope, just like the last few corpses that have turned up since her renaissance, this one was left in a nice public area, with a moderate amount of foot traffic begging to be found by someone trying maybe a little bit too hard to stay in the spotlight. Now, I will say this, IK, as I'm sure you're listening, it's pretty lowbrow to go after somebody with literally no following, whose only crime was criticizing you. Yes, admittedly in a not very tasteful fashion, but you can't please everyone all the time, and there surely must have been someone more deserving out there than him. I mean, yes, I suppose he turned on you in a fashion with all those mean, hurtful things he was saying, but come on. You're a serial killer. People hate and trash talk you on a daily basis. It should just be noise to you at this point. Also, I just have to say you kinda rushed this one, didn't you? The nuance for the method itself feels hasty, vengeful even, and not even your kind of cold vengeance. This almost feels passionate. So, could it be that despite the good press and the fans and your ever-growing legion of followers, that this guy, this loudmouth nobody, got under your skin? Did he offend your delicate sensibilities? Have I? Am I doing so now? Is that why you keep hacking away at my episodes? Which, on the note of trolls, is a pretty dick thing to do, young lady, and I think you know that. If you really want to talk to somebody, and God knows you probably should, just call in like everybody else. I'll make some tea, kick my feet up, and we'll unpack that H-bomb of a childhood you're lugging around with you together. And a final piece of friendly advice, maybe stick to killing people who actually deserve to die at least a little bit. Wouldn't want that brand to go off message. Or maybe that is the message. Maybe it's not just the big assholes in the crosshairs anymore, and just about anyone with a moderate to high dick streak is now fair game. And that is all I've got, guys. Good night. Welcome back, everyone. IK striking pretty close to home last week, taking out Madman Mikey 007, a longtime subscriber. Now, I've had my share of hate mail before, but good lord, the amount rolling in off this one is something else. So let's go to a line. I'm sure we've got more than a few thoughts on this one. And who do we have?
It's Nina, and I'm upset that my son died, and you're making light of it.
Nina? Madman Mikey? Madman Mikey was your son?
Yes.
Don't follow.
I don't know what you don't follow. I feel like little Michael is in my heart as my son.
That is disrespectful. I'm disrespectful, and I'm saying that is disrespectful. That's something else, okay?
I feel like I need to represent him, and that's why I have established a League of Concerned Mothers. We're called MASK, which is Mothers Against Serial Killers. Taking the mask off of murderers.
Sweet slogan.
Yeah, well, I'm the chapter president, and let me tell you, Ben Robinson, we're coming for you. We are coming for you. And when you get a bunch of mothers together, let me tell you, you're going to have some things to be worried about.
And what might those be?
Well, first of all, our first order of business is we're going to shut you down. Shut you down and your crappy show.
Nina, we've talked twice about how you can't figure out child locks on a laptop, and you think you're going to hack a YouTube channel? Call CRTC?
Don't use all those weird lingo things with me. You know, I can Bing that later and find out what you're talking about.
I think as chapter president, you might want to start a subchapter in Mask of LUTS, of LUTS, the League of Unextraordinary Technical Skills.
You know what? What I'm lacking in technical skills, I have in the passion to want to shut people like you down, to shut your voice down, because you're just poison in our society.
Nina, if Mask is up for unmasking serial killers, you should support me.
Excuse me? I wouldn't be surprised if you were the serial killer, if you were the IK killer.
We've been over this before. It is Image Killer. That's it.
Yeah, you seem
That's
very familiar with it.
No more
Probably
syllables.
because you are the IK killer.
Okay, let's say I'm the IK killer. What's your evidence?
My evidence?
Don't say passion. For the love of God, don't say your passionate belief in the cause. What is your evidence?
My evidence is just the intimacy of which you know the cases. Well, I wonder why you know so much about these cases. Probably because you're committing the crimes.
Nina, was there something you actually wanted to talk about today?
Yes. I explained to you what I'm calling about. I'm the chapter president of my local mask league, but I would like chapters all over the world to come together and take people like you down, Ben Robinson. You're a scourge upon the earth.
I've got to ask, are there masks involved in these mask chapter meetings? Is this like a Freemason thing? Are there special robes involved?
No, we're just mothers.
Shame.
You know what? You're making light of something that's very important. Mask is going to dominate. You're going to hear everything about Mask. You're going to hear about it on all the talk shows. We're going to become so popular, you're not going to know what to do.
Well, I'll probably just keep doing this and actually doing some work to try and catch the serial killer.
You are the IK killer. I wouldn't doubt it. You probably are the IK killer. How do you know so much about him?
Because I have sources, Nina.
I want you to know that my son was really upset when he saw the little Michael story.
Okay, you can't figure out child locks. I understand. Your son is 5. Do you have a desktop computer or do you have a laptop computer?
A desktop is the one that sits on the desk, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I have. I take it to work.
Nina, does it fold in half?
Yes.
That's laptop, Nina.
It's on the desk, though.
Just put it on a shelf. Just put it on a shelf. He's 5. He's what? 3 feet tall?
I'm not going to put it on a shelf. It's not a shelf top. Is there a shelf top computer?
Oh, good Lord, Nina. I am a very well-read individual. I am actually at a loss for words at this moment.
Is that a newfangled thing, though, a shelf top?
You know what? You should do it. You should get all the mothers in Mask on board with this. It's a trend. I think you could get it going. Be the trendsetter.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Oh, okay, so there isn't a shelf top. So you're just making fun of me or mocking me again? You'll be crying when Mask unmasks you.
Nina, just before you go, and you are going to go soon, I promise you, was there anything you wanted to say to the image killer who hasn't been caught before you go? Assuming it's not me and we haven't just been having a 5-minute conversation.
I want to say to the IK killer, which is probably you, we just haven't proved it yet, that Mask, Mothers Against Serial Killers, we are banding together. We are throwing our passion and our resources and our intellect into unmasking you. And you are going to be sorry when we find you.
Good Lord, Nina, on the topic of trolls, I have to say, with a little extra legwork and a few upgrades to your shelf top, you could be on the way to something truly legendary. That, and you would also require a basic understanding of chat rooms, the internet, and keyboards in general. And that is it, guys. Good night. Have you ever had a religious experience? Something that rocked you so close to your core that you were fundamentally changed, like you just had a near-death experience. You saw the face of God himself, and then you saw your short, miserable life flash before your very eyes. Now, religious or not, you've probably at one point asked yourself, what happens after death? Well, I'm not here to answer that because, well, I'm not dead. But what if I did know? Would you want me to tell you? Or would you rather wait for the bliss of the sweet hereafter with the blinders on, oblivious of what may be? Me, I'd rather that you keep your theories to yourself and arms and legs inside the bus at all times. I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. You know the drill by now. New clue, you're confused, I am not. Let's get right into it. Now, the latest clue is quite simple, but there's still a lot to unpack for anyone with half a brain out there. What we're looking at is 2 bloody band-aids arranged in the shape of a cross. This one I quite like. It's effective. You get it right away, but it's still vague enough to keep the mindless drones guessing and the active minds engaged. Speaking of mindless drones, I know what you're thinking. She's finally embracing the cult of IK with a dash of religious symbolism. Maybe some of you are even thinking, holy shit, I'm a sheep in her flock, and golly, you could not be more wrong. Let's face it, just because she watches my show doesn't mean she's going to read your fanatical little comments below unless you're being a little shit. Rest in peace, Madman Mikey 007. However, at the risk of falling off the bandwagon, my money is still on this being in the religious realm. I know it would be a total crapshoot to try and pinpoint an exact person here. So, this is me giving you fair warning not to expect it. But I am pretty confident I can narrow down the field since I'm batting well over 500 for those of you keeping score at home. The cross, while it is blood red, does not reference the Red Cross as some of the comments on the photo seem to suggest. Seriously, some days, I'm sure your mother still loves you, but please, let's just dissect this like rational human beings. The Band-Aids are not symmetrically arranged as they are on the Red Cross. The blood has not fully coated them either, so they're not entirely red. And no, there is no chance in hell that this is like the infamous black and blue dress. There's also a 0% chance that this points to her eliminating a medical professional from this wretched world. IK has, as you know, standards that I wish some of you had. And no, I'm obviously not saying you should go out there and murder people. I want to make that very clear so that even Barteski and Mask can't come back to pin it on me. No. IK has standards. She only kills shitbags, which means that she could be targeting someone in pharmaceuticals, but I like to check my own bias when divulging this information. So religion! To date, IK has not gone off her well-worn and beaten path to send an ulterior message, so I don't think she's targeting the Christian faith as a whole. However, in my eyes, what makes this a tough one to pinpoint is that the motivation could be anything given the wealth of online assholes on their very own internet crusades. I'd expect that this isn't going to be targeted to some sort of southern Bible belter, as they aren't inherently assholes. They certainly come across that way at times, but mostly they are just spreading their own thoughts into the online void. And at the end of the day, aren't we all? All these videos, lost, like tears in rain. That is actually kind of depressing. Moving on. So who could it be? Is it a priest stealing money from the church to fund their online show? Is it someone preaching a holier-than-thou mantra? Plenty of those. Is it a missionary posing with children in Africa that he has no intention of ever helping in any real way? I'm not actually sure. Like any large mass of people, there's always going to be a few rotten eggs in the basket, and I'm a little hard-pressed to nail this one down based on my limited online research. Surprisingly, when you search Band-Aid Church, you get a lot of results, and I have to admit that this time my search wasn't rife with douchebags and twittering wankstains. So, as to not receive yet another call from your friendly neighborhood police sergeant, I will not be naming names, but leave you alleged grown-ups to make your own assessments. If you think you know who it is, feel free to post it in the comments. I won't read. And if you think it's you, what the hell? Post it in the comments as well and get yourself into protective custody. Shout out to Adam Chen, you salty dog. Keep on living. That is all I've got for you guys. Good night. Hey guys, got a bit of a different one for you today. So you see, yesterday I was actually a guest on someone else's podcast, a bastion of fine journalism called FaceTube. Now please sit back and enjoy the following train wreck.
Closer. How's this?
Closer.
Even better?
No, where I am. Come on, get closer. You gotta get like we're not gonna kiss, but get closer.
No, how's this?
No, get closer. All right, I'm your host, Michael Davison, and with me is
James Young.
And this is episode 941 of We have a very special guest for everyone today, and his name is Ben Robinson, the host of the Image Killer podcast.
Very excited.
We're very excited. Hello, Ben.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Very excited.
We're very excited, Ben. We're very excited.
Say thanks for that sweet intro.
Oh, you're very welcome, my friend. You're very welcome. So I understand this is a little bit different for you for your regular Monday.
A little bit. Feel like I'm on a Wipeout episode right now, but.
All right, Ben. First question of the day. Is social media to blame for the rise of IK? What do you think?
We're just gonna jump right in there. No preamble.
Well, I mean, everybody knows who you are.
Foreplay, eh? All right. That's.
Well, there's no need for that, Ben.
All right. Sorry. Okay. What was your question? One more time. Give it to me.
Is social media the cause of the rise of the image killer?
All right. So your question is social media responsible for the rise of IK? And I think to some extent, yes. At this point in time, you can literally get anything on the internet. You can get fans for just about anything. Case in point. And yeah, you end up with a following that you need to feed. So while I don't think it would have stopped her from killing people, but it definitely helps. Everyone loves an audience, so I'm sure IK fits that same bill.
So what you're trying to say is that it's not the cause of the rise of IK, but it's 100% making it worse.
Yes. All right, guys, you got to listen with the soundboard thing. Do you guys feel like you're at risk for the image killer coming to your homes and butchering you alive?
Why would you say that, Ben?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
What about us?
It's a little hurtful. I mean, we've been watching your podcast, and to be honest, your podcast says, and let me finish. Your podcast says that she only goes after assholes.
And we're not assholes, Ben. We're
assholes.
two lovable podcast hosts.
Yeah, that soundboard says otherwise.
Now, this is something that Michael and I have been dying to know since we started watching your podcast.
Listening to, but yes.
Well, I mean, you got some
you've
sort
got
of
a bit of
visual
both,
component,
right?
you
Come
know.
on, it's on the YouTube.
I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, you guys got the little waveform thing going on. You got the little sounds a little creepy, kind of look cool, kind of dark netty.
Question: Where are we going with this?
Who is Red?
Oh yeah, Red. Who is Red? Yes, thank you, James. Who is Red?
Well, guys, the entire point of using fake names on darknet boards is so you don't know who it is.
I mean, we know you're green.
Well, yeah, it's because I posted the video.
I mean, are you still green, or you like something else, like
cyan maybe, or a blue?
No, I stick firmly in the green shades. Sometimes I like to mix it up and say forest. It can be a name. It can be a color. It's